the most because when I'm not in the mood, something occupies my mind like a demon. Like, I love to preach about consciousness and being in control of your thoughts, but let's be real. That success demon, nobody's in control of that. When that thing comes onto you, have you ever woken up next to someone you really care about and you don't feel whole? You don't feel seen and loved and all that. You feel like something is heavily missing here, and it boils in me within minutes, to the point where if she touches me, I go, "Don't touch me." And it's not to look cool or any of that. It's more like, you are the reason. Obviously, she's not the reason. Get your life in check and balance. But there's this energy of, you are the reason I am not where I want to be. Right? Whether it's financially or whatever. Well, it should be clout first and then finances. But that energy, that demon in my head, it's been there since like a kid. And obviously I wasted a lot of my life, but it set up my life to be fun always. Like, when I say I wasted my life, all my teen years, I was so sporty and athletic, and then I let go of all of the sports to be addicted to an MMO uh, video game, like a computer game. And that thing of like, I had more respect for the Dragon Knight in the video game than the top leading goal scorer in our team, which was my twin brother. He was hyper athletic. He didn't even have to train. He's just like, he is the leading goal scorer. And I just remember thinking, like, I had this immense amount of respect for the Dragon Knight on the map, and I had a lot of guild members from my high school, but also worldwide, and it was a community game, right? It was an MMO, but so was football. But in a weird way, football ended. We'd have soccer practice, and then we'd have games on Saturdays or Sundays. I can't remember. It was Saturdays, and it was a demon in my head. Like, I couldn't understand how the other friends I had on our football team, they all played the same game as me, but for some reason, they didn't feel a massive level of disrespect when someone said noob. It's a fucking noob. Shut up, nub. There's all sorts of words for being called like low level. And all my buddies would be like smiling if a Dragon Knight walked into the map and called them that, right? And I'm talking about even before 2007, when I was like 5 feet tall. I was like 4.5 feet tall back then. I was tiny, and I remember how much it hurt my heart. I've never spoke about this on a call either, and I didn't think the call would be about this, but this, I'm going to tie it up perfectly. Watch. It broke my heart when a hundred and let's say a level 100 plus Dragon Knight walked into the map way before 2007. This is like early days, right? Maybe grade four, but or grade two, or I don't know what it was. How's it work? In 2007, I was like 10 years old or some shit. But anyways, it's too early. Let me drink my coffee here. It shattered me, bro. When someone said I'm having a bad day on the field, it didn't hurt that bad. It hurts like, you're competitive young boy, but whatever. But when someone said I was low level in my MMO, it shattered me. It's like I want to skip homework, skip school, call in sick, call in every favor from my mom. When you're like the youngest and you can just start staying in sick a lot of the time because the parents just don't get strict around the youngest. I don't know what that is. That's why the youngest is always like a Jack Sparrow fucking drug addict, destroys his life type shit. The youngest is always, you got to watch out. I feel like every youngest child should be beaten harder. And I mean that. Like, they should be beaten into smithereens, because if they don't, they'll do it to themselves in weird ways. But yeah, I remember calling every favor from my mom. It's like, I don't want to go to school, mom. And I'd have like a pale, white ghost face, like I'm sick. And my mom could tell that I just want to stay home and level up and play the game. And my parents were very strict for my brothers, but not for me, because they could just tell that the teachers would say, this guy is really dissociating from his work and school. He is He just doesn't want to do anything. It's almost like I'm threatening my family with a deep depression, but I'm not saying it out loud. I'm just saying I'm not good, mom, and I don't know why. And it's like a 9-year-old saying this, and my mom would just be like, "Okay, stay home," because my parents were shook. It was like this was like what is it, a couple years after 9/11. A lot of freak shit was happening when you turn on the TV. Although it was the greatest time to live, it's not like today. It wasn't like a circus today. And so obviously my mom would, take my brothers to school, but for me, she'd be like, until he's healthy mentally, he can stay. And so I would get a lot of like maybe once, twice a week, a lot of times. Anytime it would, slightly snow. Back then it used to snow. Anytime it was like raining hard. My mom just was. When you can gaslight your mom with a look of you could just put fear in her, like, hey, I'm not okay, and you don't explain further, and you're not trying to be manipulative. You're telling the truth that you want to play your video game, and that's all you want to do. And she knows that you're not like a scholar. You don't want to be a part of the educational system at all. You don't want to level up in life at all, and your path is not going to be mathematics and all the classes you're missing and all that. Which is weird. In high school, I couldn't do this, but in grade school, it was okay. And it was crazy because it was crazy because I really started to level up fast. Like when I pushed down people's throat that I was a gamer, people think I'm doing this to relate. Other people think I'm doing this as like, oh, this is actually cool. He's telling the truth, but blah blah blah. No, I'm saying there's once a time. I'm not going to mention this ever again, by the way, right? Because being a gamer, it's not something you mention, but it is motivating to hear that there was one point in my life where whatever level of consciousness I was at 10 years old or whatever, my ass bled from sitting down so long. Have you, I didn't even think this is fucking possible, but Google it. Your ass can bleed from sitting down too long. And I don't know what the fuck that was. Maybe I was a little slightly heavier and chunkier. I don't know what it was, but maybe I just didn't, yeah, I didn't get up to stretch my leg. I was locked in, and I mean frozen with that nerd energy. And I always remember, I'm like, I could have just easily stayed with my buddies on the field being slightly popular, or I could play this game. And this game would consume me, dude. It was like it didn't even suit me to sit down and be a nerd, you know? I'm more of an adventurer. I'm not a fucking nerd, right? Like I yearn for a Pokemon adventure. I don't yearn for a fucking video game, but the adventure I kept seeing in the game. It was a side scroller game, 2D game, and the whole world was playing, so it felt really global back then. And I learned everything from this game, like the way I navigate in the world today. Everything I learned from this game, I apply to my Twitter, YouTube, all that shit that I do. And I loved it to death. I loved it to death. And this game was everything to me because I kept seeing myself in it. And I kept wondering if when you do reach, let's say, a Dragon Knight status, if you actually feel genuine happiness from reaching that level. And I still remember thinking, like, yeah, I did. People say, oh, it's all about the grind. It's like, no, no, dude, when you're the first one up there and you've busted your ass, yeah, the grind was better, grinding at zombies, whatever it was back then, by the mines and all that. And it was great, LNAF, and then it turned into Aqua Road and all that. It was awesome. The grind was obviously the better part because you just get immersed into that world. And back then it wasn't just grinding like video games today. There was a community aspect to the game. You make friends and all that. And I just remember thinking, like, I think it was when I turned 21 years old. So I had a couple years of no video games. I was going to the gym, doing normal stuff, and this hollow feeling came across me where it's like, have you ever seen the whole world moving, going to their jobs, and you're at that age of 20, 21 years old, where the whole world's going to their job, that fits in as a puzzle piece to their career except you, that is a rough feeling, by the way. That is like when you see the whole world going to a puzzle piece where I fit in this part of the community, I fit in this part, and you're just doing odd jobs. Like, have you ever seen those meth heads who take jobs on Craigslist? Not that I went that far, I didn't even touch alcohol or drugs until like 19, I think, or 20. I don't remember, but it was like super late because I know I've dabbled, but in a strange way. It was like if I could explain how I dabbled, it was in such a controlled manner that you'd be like, you're not even in public doing it. You're just like doing it in your like fucking little bedroom and shit like that. Anyways, this uncontrollable fear came over me that the world just moves on without you. And back then, just like any 21-year-old, you don't hear God at that age. It's very different when you're 31. It's extremely different, actually. And not that you're a schizophrenic hearing God, but you don't download meaning in the moment. And like right when you're in the moment, you can download meaning. Like for example, if I sit down for 10 minutes, I can start downloading the meaning of my obsession with that MMO. It has nothing to do with what people say. The reason I love that game is because it's my skeleton of how to live a productive life. It's my guardrails. That if the Zherka with the checkmark character, the Dragon Knight, if he's not progressing, things are horrible, and it's not just the superficial side of the internet side. It's also the real life side. It's like, are you progressing in consciousness? It's like that game made it so I have guardrails, so I never waste minutes of my life. And every human has something. Like for example, the guardrails for my twin brother, they have to be football because that's all he fucking did. He's like a fanatic. He's so good. He's like the best. He's just freaky talented with that, right? And obsessed with it. He'll never talk about it. He's just always in that world and playing games and all that. And or he's juggling nonstop for like 2 hours, juggling with the ball, and just he gets immersed in that world. And I'm like, oh, his guardrails have to be that athletic football thing. I know mine was gaming because the gaming gave me this weird fucking insecurity where when successful people would walk up to me in person around age 20, 21, I started seeing them as the Dragonite. For once, it wasn't a digital thing; it was in the world. And that shit stung, bro. That shit, the idea that in reality, there's nothing Dragon Knight about me. I'm just like a cool guy. I was just like a normal guy. Normal is such an ugly word. But yeah, I still remember being puzzled. I'm like, how come none of my friends give a fuck? Like, you even see this on clips where a Clav will go outside of a nightclub and everyone goes to take a photo with him and all the men realize that Clav is, shining and they are lesser beings. As superficial as it sounds, that's what they look like. They're like trying to like suck him off and all that. And they don't they'll even say it out loud, like you're the man, bro. And they don't realize what's happening in their reality. Like they're just waiting for something to happen that's never gonna happen. There's a lot of people who wait for something to happen and it never happens and they get nervous disorders, alcoholism, destroy their lives, whatever. And some people point to me and say, what about you and drugs? And I've never done drugs at home. I've never done drugs being a druggie. None of that. I've only ever done drugs for adventure. So, and I think that's like a really good excuse, by the way. There's like, talk to a cokehead who's doing lines in his room, and you'll see the worst thought forms on earth. You'll be like, well, that guy's gonna kill himself. And then talk to a cokehead that's at a festival because they're a part of an adventure. And it's more to do with the festival than the fucking drug, really, right? There's the community aspect of all of it, and yeah, that's where I've always divided it, where it's like, dude, you can easily let go of any drug. People always ask, like, how can you just be normal for 2 years and make money and stuff? It's like, dude, drugs. will only appeal to you if you start doing them from your room, which I've never done that. That's like how an addict moves in the world. I will never put a supercharger, a twin turbo inside of me if I'm just sitting in a room. I don't care if it's Jameson, I don't care if it's liquor, I don't care if it's drugs. I've never, that's like doing steroids and sitting in your room. Like, what human would do that, you know? Now, if you're injecting in the gym bathroom with your buddies in the stalls and you're all like, holy shit, daily, you're injecting so much that you're seeing daily changes, which you know your body's dying. Because remember, even with gear, it's monthly changes for the average guy, it's weekly changes for the athletic guy, and for the guy really blasting his socks off, I swear to God, every steroid guy is gonna disagree with me here. They're all gonna call me crazy. But you ask any of my buddies, anyone in my close life, I maybe just me, but it wasn't my peak wasn't even impressive. You know, like I'm sure Ronnie Coleman's peak is impressive when he's on gear, when he's on a fat cycle. So I'm not talking about the peak. I'm saying the speed. The speed when you have daily changes in front of the mirror, not weekly, not monthly, daily changes to your physique, and big enough to where, within 1, 2 days, you're like, what the fuck? Now that's how you know you're blasting. That's how you know you're putting way too much shit in your body. Super dangerous. For most people, they don't even get results doing this. But if you're getting them, I've like I always said, I was never impressed where I went to with gear until I saw the stats of what the average gear abuser looks like, and it looks like trash. Right? It looks like they don't even lift, like dad bod or worse. But yeah, for me, it was the daily changes where at 21 years old to see myself morph, daily changes was holy shit. And I lived in a gym. I lived inside of a gym. Like I did not ever go home. I lived inside of a gym. And then I'd go to my dad's and be like, yo, check this out. And my dad was like in utter shock of how fast I was changing. Like he was like, whoa, what the fuck? To go from like a 6'5" cutie pie in Tokyo, that photo, to like hyper masculinization and this is becoming a serious problem, and with no anger. In the beginning it's so much fun. You wake up in the morning because you're dying, you're going hypo, your blood sugar's dropping, you're starving. This is why steroids are so dangerous for a 6'5" guy, right? If you're a short guy, it's not, how bad could it be really to manage a short body? If you're 6'5" and you fall asleep on steroids, you wake up so hungry that you could fall, slip your head, and die from the low blood sugar because your body says it doesn't wake up on the high levels of trend. Your body doesn't wake up saying, I'm hungry. You wake up, I'm in fight or flight. I don't know what's going on, and then you try and move. Like maybe there's an animal in the house that's trying to kill you. You don't know why you're in a fight or flight state. You don't know why your anxiety's up, and it's not. You know how they say mental anxiety when you're walking around town? No, no. From sleep, it feels like a body anxiety, and so you wake up, and when you try and move, your body doesn't move. It starts falling apart on you, and you go, "Oh, my body doesn't move because and incredible and all. That's why I say, like, how humans with ego consciousness, you're aware that you have a body, you have to take care of the body. If you're a short guy, you don't know what I'm talking about. Like if a short guy goes hungry, nothing happens. Have you ever noticed that? When short people go hungry, look at when a NBA player goes hungry. It's actually extremely dangerous. It's like everything is harder to maintain on a like bigger machine, right? So that's why I always say like no one can make steroids sound attractive except really, really big bone people because they're getting that full experience of what is this shit? What this shit is hard to use, they're getting all the water retention, they're getting all the fucking problems, um, and all the women and all that. But yeah, it was to me. I still remember thinking, this is not like the MMO video game where you build up into the Dragonite. You're skipping the grind phase and you're going hard, you know? And as much damage as it did to me, it punctured a hole in my heart. It's like tried to kill me. It did so much horrible shit to me. It was the best times of my life, right? Not the puking parts. Obviously, I don't want to go back to that. Not to all the legal trouble and all that, but I'm just saying the idea that that is my path. You know, I would watch Pumping Iron and Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when I was in grade 10, 11, 12, I would just watch Z's videos. Even though I didn't work out, I was totally in the gaming thing. And then and then he died, I think, when I was in grade 11. And a couple years later, I mustered up the courage to you know, everyone was talking about how these things kill you. And I remember thinking to myself, and I've never mentioned this on a stream or anything like that, but I remember thinking to myself, and this is like a sad day in your life when you come to this door, you know, you come to this gate. But I remember thinking to myself, so be it, let me die then, you know, like I'm not working at a warehouse. What the fuck? You know, so be it. Let's see what it's all about. And man, that was so stupid. It was so stupid, and yet it was the most free I've ever felt. You know, it was the most. You ever do something fucking extreme, and you think to yourself like, "Well, nothing else matters." Now, obviously, if I could go back in time, I would never have done Trenbolone, right? I would never have. But, but I think I'm lying to myself too, because wouldn't we all have done it? Like, think about it really. If I knew what I was doing, I still would have ran the trend because it still has that this whole curiosity about it. You know, this whole how, this is the most powerful gate you can go through. And I just remember thinking like that was the first time I stood on my own 2 feet where actively dying and rotting from the inside was the most liberating experience of my life. It was like, you know, everyone went to college and you went to Tremblant. It was like, wow. And and I still remember thinking like it it was interesting to me that I still wouldn't go out and party. Like I was just so into the hard work thing. Like back then, I used to believe humans are supposed to work out 7 days a fucking week, which is so stupid. You could get more gains with on gear. You could get more gains with 4 days a week and having lesser stress levels and eating a bunch. But it was like, what the fuck are we doing? You know, oh, high volume. Man, shut the fuck up with that shit, bro. I would have done so many things different, but I was just in my grind phase until the grind became something fucking nasty. You know, when you lose sight of why you're even doing this shit. Because, you know, you say you want to get ripped, you get ripped. Then you say, nah, rip's not enough. I want to get big. Actually, I want the word jacked. That's where I want to be. Then you get jacked. Then you say, I want to. It keeps morphing. It's like playing tag with you. And if I understood what I understood now, I would have been like, damn, I missed a lot of the enjoying shit phase. You know, the enjoying shit? And that built up such a nasty shadow that I just had to enjoy quitting bodybuilding and just, you know, living in nightclubs and partying. And then I enjoyed that for a long time. And I just remember my life coming in waves where I don't want to be social. I want to game. It led me into an extreme. Well, I don't want to be social. I want to bodybuild. It led me to another extreme. I don't want to, and then eventually it exploded where I can only be social. For 5, 6 years, I didn't know what a Logan Paul was. and I wouldn't spend time on anything. Just imagine the Clav clips you see, except 7 nights a week, nonstop, and sleeping at the clubs and my buddies' places, and it felt so fucking normal to get no money, very low money for 6 fucking years, 5 years, not six, 5 years. And it felt so normal. It made sense where people were stopping me everywhere I went. They're like, "You're a security guard? Shouldn't you be in Hollywood?" I'm like, "Oh, they're just being polite. My big puffy face on gear and all that shit. No, they're just being polite." And then it was like a demon in my head. I'm like, "Wait a minute. There's something off about me getting paid $12 an hour, and I'm I'm the only human in my whole city that's actually a human. Like I do what I want. I don't have a boss or any of that gay shit. I don't fit like a cog in any machine. I get fired from even these jobs. So I'm like, wait a minute, something is way off. I should be getting paid to be myself, like like all the superstars." And I'm thinking to myself, like, that obsession I have with being number one that was transferred from the video game to the nightclubs. Thank God I went through that because it built me, right? I always say this, but it built me into having skill sets that people want to trade money for the rest of my life. And I get to build off that skill set. It only, like you get to buy off me when I'm 40, more passive streams of income by then. And it just gets better and better. And I'm like, that mastery where you don't want to call it mastery, but you got your whole life to adding to the project. Like I'll be adding to even my red pill takes, I'll be adding more red pill. I got the rest of my life to not worry about just by being number one at something. Just by being number one at something. What the fuck? I got the rest of my life to not worry about. Just, I got the rest of my life. I got the rest of my life to not worry. And I wake up every morning confused, like, wait a minute, before I start my day, shouldn't I go to work? I still have that instinct, like, wait, don't I have work? And then I start bubbling up with joy. I'm like, I don't have work. I don't go to a job. I don't do any of that. And freaky things happen in my life where, and this is obviously for most people online, they're like, well, Zherka, you just sound like another, guy on Twitter. And yeah, but those guys went from like a regular paying job to, let's say, their Twitter or whatever the fuck they're doing. So to them, it's not that impressive. To me, from the nightclub, $12 an hour to this life, it's mind blowing. I talked to my accountant. He says, hey man, you have to spend more money so you can save more money. I'm like, what the fuck? What kind of, I'm not used to that. Or the idea that, hey, these expenses are going to go here anyway. You might as well just keep traveling the world. It's the same shit. Or don't go live today, Zherka, because if you disappear from the internet for 2 weeks, your sales will jump up 30%. It always happens. You can't just keep giving them and all that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not used to that. Because I come from the grind mindset of Maple Story, the video game, the computer game, where the grind mindset is the more you do, the more. And then the bodybuilding mindset was the more and more and more. And by bodybuilding, I mean I wasn't a gym rat. A gym rat is like someone who takes steroids, goes to the gym. I was a bodybuilder in the sense that 7 days a week I would do 3.5 hours. That half would be cardio. I was like overcooking the turkey, and I loved it. Right? I loved it. Um, but and that's what I mean by bodybuilder, like not competing, but actually living the life where there's nothing else happening. Like the 8 p.m. crowd would see me, and so would the some of the morning crowd that stays till noon. So every worker at the gym knew me and all that shit, and we're all tight, and everything was gym related. I didn't watch YouTube for however long, and it started mixing with the nightlife stuff because for some reason, gym rat life goes so fucking well. My bad. Gym life goes so fucking well with nightlife. I saw Patrick Bet David say he was a bodybuilder and then he was addicted to clubbing because he's on gear, and that's, I guess that's in his home country, right? And that's exactly what I mean. There's like it was connected, but it went from MMO gaming, right? Just my big MMO that I need this MMO in my life to fitness, right? Into what? Into women. It was like a stepping ladder, and none of it paid me a fucking dollar. None of my mastery, and mind you, I'm 25 years old at this point. I've done everything you're supposed to do. I'm 26 almost. And so by 26, I made $0. Zero. Even with the drug dealing and stuff, it's always just breaking even, doing stupid shit. Um, I had enough, but I had enough to look cool in the city, I guess. But just enough to look like. I mean, come on, enough is always bad. Enough means one tragedy and you're fucked, right? So it was cope. It was cope. I'd have. It's like starting. It's like when a drug dealer tells you how much they make in the starting of the year, and then for the rest of the year they do bad, or the winter they do bad, or whatever, right? It was like that. I still remember thinking like, okay, I have three masteries. What's my next mastery? And it was women. It was just naturally. I shouldn't say naturally. I forced it. Let's be real. I was obsessed with the only natural part of my game was the funny part, which is huge. Which, believe it or not, funny doesn't mean they let you smash. I don't know why everyone says if you're funny, you get to smash quick. And really, how many funny fat asses there are in the club coping, and I'll just drive her home. Like, what are you talking about? Like, stop regurgitating what your grandparents told you, man. So, anyways, I obsessed over the game. I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna be this broke guy that loves my life, because it would get depressing too. It was like nothing's happening adult wise. Everything else is happening, right? The will forces, the muscle, the all that, and the money was up and down. And when you don't feel stable, you don't wake up correct. I don't care how well you slept, you don't sleep good. You convince yourself you slept good, you don't sleep good, man. And I remember I'm like, well, fucking mastery's never paying. I'm approaching my 26th birthday and or 25th. It was like the tail end of the 25th, and I'm like, wow, mastery does not pay. It does not pay. And I had my rock bottom moment, and I was pissed. When you're pissed at the world, you're pissed at yourself, you're pissed at God, and you're one of those people that you don't have faith when you're down there. When you're at the fucking rock bottom, you don't have faith in anything. You're just an angry person and you'll put substances in you to keep that anger going. I was there. And because 25 is really late to be unstable with money, to be extremely owing people, shit like that. I was paying back fucking drug lords and shit. Because I wasn't those guys that's like, oh, I'm gonna just live a fancy life and then owe people money. No, I would pay them back as soon as I could because I hate someone being over my head with some dead shit. I've always hated that. There's no way to live. And because I saw someone say like they thrive off being on the edge of owing someone big money and these investors. Like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, what kind of, you like going bald, worrying about money? Like, what? And I just remember thinking like, wow, this world sucks. This world sucks. I'm the joker of the city. I laugh at everything. I laugh, but really, what I'm laughing out of pain. Like it's everything I mastered didn't get me anywhere. But I got buddies who mastered nothing, and they had more stability and it was just nasty. And then my health issues were popping up and all that negative karma, right? By karma I mean the word karma doesn't mean that eastern thing. It means creation, what you're co-creating. So if you put trenbolone in your body, you're creating a new matrix where your body is dying. You're co-creating something bad. It's not the Lord doing it to you. You're injecting it into yourself, right? And don't forget the benefits of it too. You're enjoying it when it's up. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, there was also this fear of getting someone pregnant because became really fucking good with women. Where it was like, I remember my family and friends being around me. They're like, "Whoa, that's like a Casanova incarnation." They looked at me like I was someone else. They're like, "When the fuck did this guy come out of the shell like that?" They looked at me like, "Does he study that? This is." I was, when I say good, I mean like entering celebrities nightclub and leaving with the girl within 5 minutes of meeting her, smiling, all that. Let's go to the beach. Let's go to the beach, and they know what I want, and it was so fucking ogre, instinctual, raw. And everyone uses these words like, "Oh, it was so beastly," like to sound cool. But when I use the word beastly, I'm coming at it from an intellectual point of view. Beastly is a bad thing, right? Beastly. When I say beastly, I'm doing beastly activities. I'm saying uh, nothing else is going in correct in my life. So I'm turning into this animal where, when you have the animal inside you, it's cool, but when it's like start pushing out of your skin and ruining your life and you're not in control anymore, that's not masculine. That's like you're turning into a savage. That's, savages were never cool throughout history. I don't care which gladiator you point at. You want to point at the gladiator with ego consciousness and, someone more intellectual, not even intellectual, someone more morally upright, right? And I just remember thinking to myself, I wonder if anyone else in the world tried three different things, mastered three things, and didn't get paid for any of them in any way. And some people are like, well, you're grabbing ass, you're getting the girl. I guess I got paid for that. That's what distracted me. It always felt great taking home to my buddy's place a hot chick when I didn't have money because it kind of felt like that's what the rich guys are going for anyway. They're at the club. I see them. I interact with them. They tip us and they want the chicks and they can't get the chicks. We got them. And so it felt in a weird way like the woman is reminding me that something is happening in reality when in all truth 25 years old, that's like 7 years of fucking suffering. That was like brutal, man. And I remember taking so much joy in Burger King. I was really addicted to fast food because I remember my coach, which was just a drug dealer back then. My coach said, Zherka, your metabolism is pretty high. You can eat and get away with it even naturally. How about you just to fill out more, eat more junk food. Don't waste the drug because you're not growing anymore. You've kind of baseline. And I always wanted to progress, so I started doing junk food for years. Even though I was down for the rice and chicken protocol, it wasn't working. It started flattening out. It's like, when you're on so much gear that it's like, dude, if the food is not matching you're not growing. And for you guys wondering, it's like, isn't the goal for a fitness model to get leaner and not grow? It's just about shreds. Yeah, but the reason I'll always use the word growing, even if I mean getting leaner, is because we're talking about high levels of trenbolone, really high levels of trenbolone. So yes, you can do both at the same time. Even if one's happening when you're sleeping, I'm cutting when I'm sleeping, but when I wake up, I'm putting on tissue. And however you want to word it, you can. And on paper, obviously, it doesn't make sense. You can either grow or break down. You can't do both, and it looks like you're doing both over a 24-hour period, but really you're choosing one side or the other. I've heard all the scientific arguments, but I'll tell you this: fuck science. When you have your first week on 600 mgs of tren, and then you go up higher than that, you're doing both at the same time, right? You just look in the mirror day by day, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And here's the crazy part that no one ever talks about, because every gear user is too traumatized to admit this. You don't keep your gains on trend. Maybe on other compounds. I've heard of that. I can so believe keeping test gains and whatever. And I do believe that high levels of androgens, let's say high levels of trend, I do believe your frame is changed for life. You do keep like a new level of tissue for sure, even though you don't look like you're on gear when you're off it. But you do have the higher appetite, higher weight, more tissue, and more fat after, and all that. So you're a different person, even though this doesn't happen to most people. Most people just shrink back to normal, which is hella depressing. And for me, my normal is still better than where I started off. It still feels like maybe I'm coping, but to me, it's insanity how a testosterone cycle can be somewhat kept in a weird way if you keep benching, you do everything right. But the trend cycle, the appearance will never be kept, right? It will never be kept. That when the traps start turning into a legit triangle, which doesn't even happen on tests, you can take as much tests as you want. They'll always be kind of smoother and different shape, and you could diet, you could do everything perfect on test. The traps aren't going to be like a perfect triangle. They're going to be more rounded triangle or whatever. You're going to look jacked and big, but that thing where they're ripping off the shirt going straight up, which you don't get to keep at all. Like they drop down, and it's a depressing thing when they drop down because then your body's shut down. It's over. But that insane cartoony look where you look like an action figure, that is Trenbolone. Make no mistake about that. And obviously, if you diet and train, you don't need Trend to look really good. Like for example, Chris Bumstead doesn't even use Trend. He just relies on his genetics and compounds that lets him eat and grow and all that. But for me, all the bad stuff before it happened, it was all the good stuff first. And I'm like, okay, I have a trinity of gaming mindset, fitness mindset, and getting some gigs here and there, and nighttime mindset for women. Wow, none of it paid me. None of it paid me. And when people freak out at 21 when their life is a shit, then they're going nowhere. But at 25, to throw everything you can, and obviously, if you guys could watch that my lifestyle back then, you guys would all say the same thing. Zherka, you didn't even try. You're supposed to go to more of these auditions and do that. You didn't even try. You're kind of just fucked up and partying. And that's true. But I thought in my head, hard work pays off. It has to pay off. I've been taught this. And that's like the one thing my dad instilled in my head. He's like, you'll never know when you get paid, but you will always get paid. And I was always like, wow, what kind of cope is that? Right? And it was the worst. It's like, imagine Zerka who doesn't like weed, and I'd smoke just to forget. I just smoke to forget that it's like, there's no way I'm good at three different things, high level at them. The whole city knows who I am. We're having a bunch of fun. And I still have to talk to certain dudes about, hey, can you drive this to this province? Actually, if you get it through the states, we can give you $70,000. If you could, don't open the trunk, don't check what's in the back, just drive here, meet the guy, and listen, you'll be safe. But in case things don't go your way, you're gonna have a gun in your. What the? Who am I? What am I talking to you for? Like, what? How did we go from a Maple story like a World of Warcraft type game? How do we go from that to talking about this shit that is so not me? Like, what is this, bro? It's like I don't even need the money, bro. I'm eating Burger King and loving it. So I had this addiction to junk food, like this massive addiction to junk food, because it's the only stuff that would fill me out. Every time I ate um, two baconators. Every time I ate over 5,000 calories, I would finally stop looking skinny and start looking muscular again because that's how much training I was on. I kept going flat. And when you go flat on gear, it doesn't look good at all. It looks like shit. But when you're full on gear, everyone says, dude, you're on gear. What the fuck? And I was running no tests. I was like, so it's just a nightmare, right? Just nightmare with no water in me, and it crashed estrogen and all that. But it's still this weird blocky look to it, right? This cool look, opposite. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm living a good life at least. I'm eating junk food every day. I had no idea how much bad thought forms a human accumulates eating junk food, And I love junk food to this day, right? Like I always say, if a human has a good fasting protocol, you have clear skin, you have a nice square head, you're lean. Obviously, you can eat junk food almost every day. Like, what are you talking about? If everything else is perfect, then that's fine. Whatever you get away with is fine, right? Just don't overdo it. And it was so weird how it was drilled in my head that life sucks in every way, the women way, the this way, and this is before women were even on OnlyFans, the whole COVID thing. And it was a fun life, but when you're having so much fun, and the only cost is that there's no future guaranteed. It's like when you go to a big music festival with your buddies. It's so much fun until you have that flash thought of my future isn't being developed, and God will not develop my future for me, and no one will do it for me. God already gives you the heartbeat. Then no one's going to do the willing part of your actions. Don't. So you could party, you could do MDMA at this rave, you can party as much as you want. Nobody is doing your life for you. Nobody. And there's so many people who follow me and think one day you get called, like some of you guys think you're prophets, where one day you'll wake up from bed and get called by God, right? And that's not how it works at all. Like you can grow to 72 years old. All the Christian channels you watch, all the motivational shit, all of it snakes you. You are and destroyed your whole life. It's over. You're never gonna make it. If you don't set up your future for yourself, God never comes down from the clouds to help you. None of that. You have already been gifted the gift. The idea that you're just sitting around and it's gonna magically happen. It did. Here's how scary this is, bro. It didn't magically happen for me. And I did every extreme. I threw the fucking kitchen sink at being successful. All the extremes. Everything you can imagine. And it still didn't. I woke up one day, I'm like, oh, there's no future, which is the opposite of how I wake up now. I wake up and I go, well, all I can see is the future. I'm not a future oriented guy, but that's all I can see is, building more of my Twitter, more of this, whatever, tightly building my cult, right, to the very end. And all the pieces are, I can see all the pieces of the future, right? I can't wait to fill them in like Tetris. But back then it was the opposite with that super Captain America look. It was like awesome to look in the mirror, but a human, when they don't have, I'm not saying like a future to look forward to, but I'm saying like when you don't even know the next step, is there anything more paralyzing than that? If you don't know the next step, because think about it, Zherka taking Tren and talking to bitches and doing all that, that's 1,000 steps that you didn't take. And I still felt lost. That's and it's not to do with sin or anything. You've been taught of this stupid shit that this word sin makes you guys stay home for the rest of your life. It's like, stop it, dude. Just you don't even know what sin means. You're just pretending. Okay? It's like what? But this whole idea that, holy shit, one day I'll get activated, it never happens. You will never be activated by a human being, by Zherka, by no one in the world will activate your will. It will never happen. You can see people at a park bench feeding birds. You can look in their eyes. If they look sad, they never got activated, right? Then you can see people who are slightly activated and they're suffering, and dude, I'm telling you right now, what the fuck are you doing? You're saying you haven't taken a step forward in life, but it'll happen for you. But when Zerka took 1,000 steps forward and jeopardized his health, nothing happened for him. And that's the scary part, that you turn 24, 25 years old and you start thinking of like suicidal thoughts and all this crazy shit. Not that you're suicidal, but you have these flashes of, so what if I fucking croaked right now? So what if a fucking train hit me? I've got nothing else going for me. I did everything. And it's crazy, like, when I first popped off 25, right, just like a month away from turning 26, I said, oh, here's my gate. Here's my gate, finally. Then my prayer worked. And, I've known this stuff for years. I just could not, when you know how to pray, but you don't apply it because you're like, I don't deserve this. And it works. You're at rock bottom, it works. And then it's like, here's the gate. Everyone fucks with you and all that. Life is fucking, life is zooming. And the first thing you think of is, oh shit, they want to ban me. There's more problems now that I've awakened. Now I can see my path kind of, but they just banned me. Like there's even more problems when you see that first step, and people are like, well, I mean, so what? Now you can calm down, Zerka, right? Now that you're in the first step, and it's like, no, the ban says indefinite. It says permanent. Then years of trying to build the channel in the right way by getting banned and all that. even more anxieties, even more problems, and then you just one day wake up and realize, holy shit, all my life suffering since I was low level before turning into a Dragon Knight, all of it can be linked to I'm not in control. It's always someone else's control over mine, whether it's the platform banning me or someone higher level than me doing whatever. And it's like, what the fuck? What the fuck is going on? So by the time I'm 28 years old, I start coming into way deeper levels of consciousness where I'm thinking to myself, this shit never ends. Like if you make it, you get more problems than you started. Like Clav pops off and now he has a case where they're trying to put him in prison for running someone over or whatever. And you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And you tell a young guy this, they get discouraged. They're like, I don't want to even enter ego consciousness if it comes with more problems. And it's like, yeah, it does. It fucking does, dude. You're going to see how hard life constantly, violently, again and again and again, unless you have a system. Yeah, you can't. If you have a game plan at a young age and say, I want all of Zerka's problems except the part where another Dragon Knight can do this, uh, this platform bans him. These girls say, don't let him in the club because he punched my boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. It's always a top down control. You go, wait a minute. The one missing variable to being inexhaustible has always been the freedom impulse, right? It's always been a freedom impulse where if you couldn't ban Zerka, he would just be zooming. That is true. If you cannot ban me, I am just zooming like the last 2 years, right? How can you ban me if I don't even go live? I have my own thing I built up. And you guys listening are so stoked to enter this world, realizing, well, I'm a Zerka follower, so I probably sound like him. I'm probably going to get banned like him. They're going to bring me back, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go through all that turmoil, or you're going to have the executive idea of, I'm going to build my own true social, and I'm not going to let Twitch run the show for the at least the money aspect, at least so you can feed yourself. And that's how important when I talk about business, I'm not talking about like sleazy sales shit. I'm talking about it is so important to be independent so you can be free. When you're free, what does free mean? It means creative. It also means creative. Did you know that? Free means all directions. You can pick a direction you want to create in. You can have more of those, oh, I see the future. I can see what I want to do. That is the freedom impulse. But man, if you really think that your office job, your lawyer job, your doctor job, your job is going to give you the freedom impulse, you're an idiot. Clav is more free than you, and he's under many pressures still, right? Hang on. There's so much, there's so much time. When I look at the, and obviously people say, well, the bad parts where you're banned, obviously you deserve to obviously the bad times reoriented me. Like I was so fucking animalistic that getting banned actually calmed me down. Where I'm like, wait a minute, be a little more chill when you're setting up these podcasts on Twitch and stuff. But if it was the other way, if it was my own website from the get go, holy shit, would be knocking shit out the park nonstop. And I'm like, holy, if you look at any human's life, whether lawyer, doctor, whatever, video game player, whatever, freedom is where when the freedom is maxed out, that's where the human being shines. When a human being maxes out their freedom, and I mean, can you feed yourself without your lawyer boss, without your doctor boss, without your engineer boss ruining you because you made a fucking weird joke? And all of you who are going to school and getting ready for the world are so fucked when you face my problems, but you don't have that breakthrough energy that I have because let's be real, you guys are going into the real world. What advice could Zerka ever give you to go to the real world? You're fucked. You are so fucked. Like, I'm gonna tell you how to be an engineer, lawyer, doctor. Fuck no, I'm not. You have to be a little fucking bitch and bite your tongue. You have to be that no backbone in life, and you gotta just take it on the chin. Like, what else can you do? What is the advice to not do that and get fired? You can't even feed yourself. You are so fucked because the wild guy they tried to restrain. Imagine you guys that are like, okay, yes, sir, yeah, I was making 200K a year, and most people think 200K a year is a lot of money. Maybe it's a lot if you keep it all and you have no expenses, but it's not a lot if you're fucking just breaking even. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. And anyways, like, however you want to slice it, you have to remember that, yeah, up until the age of 25, like we always talk about with every call, it's everything but inspiring. There's nothing inspiring about 20 to 25 years old. It's the opposite of being inspired. It's nonstop bullshit after bullshit, and you think it slows down when you pop off, but it amplifies and it just gets bigger. And you look back in your life, you go, anytime I've cut my own freedom, I have suffered in a way that I didn't have to suffer. There's a lot of unnecessary suffering. It just feels unnecessary, but in the grand scheme of things, it's necessary. But man, it's like, could you tell a 21-year-old? Can you give a 21-year-old a freedom lesson? No, you cannot. They don't even get it. They don't, like, well, I don't even get what you're saying. You're just hyping me up, bro. And it's like, dude, make sure you do it on your own, whatever you're doing. Even the people you're around, like, make sure you are doing it on your own. This world has ways of putting you as a cog in the machine. This world has a way of making you a little bitch. This world has a way of there's systems involved where, yeah, Zerka, Sneeko are chill to each other, but the machine forces Sneeko to say certain opinions, right? Have you noticed it's like a machine talking through him? It's like a political machine. It's not. There's no jokes here. There's none of that. It's a machine talking to him because his oversoul is the Islamic oversoul, and so a puppet starts talking every time. I green flag this that. It's always a machine talking through him, and you start realizing, oh shit, humans who feel insecure have machines over their heads to feel safe. Like, machine protect me, and it's like, dude, you guys don't understand that these machines, as much as you want to be the good guy who loves everyone on earth, I recommend that too. Love will set you free. But the idea that you're getting conquered and you're building a shadow where you hate Muslims because they're conquering you and your land, and they're multiplying and they're breeding like animals and they're doing all this disgusting shit. And yes, it is disgusting to have 12 brothers and sisters. That's not fucking normal. That's actually fucking weird. Okay. That's really fucking weird. And just look at the history of just go search up countries that have a lot of kids. Like, the more primitive you are, the more kids you have. The more intellectual you are, the less kids you have. That's just how it works, man. All right. Sorry to burst your bubble, right? But that's just how it works. And honestly, let's just say this, man. Why do Muslims start acting a little more Americanized when they're in the US? It's because they know that they come from a shithole. Why do Chinese start acting more American when they're in America? Because they know they're from every human wants that Western energy. Like, even Westerners, meet a really Western white guy, he sounds like a cartoon. He sounds too white. Why? Why does he sound too white? Like almost like a cookie or whatever, just like a golf playing nice guy. It's because everyone wants the highest level DLC package. The highest level DLC package on earth is not incarnating in Pakistan or in Arab country or any. It's being born in the U.S. That is the best. That is the best. That is the best for your freedom, right? For your future freedom, for freedom to even destroy yourself. And you guys don't realize that spirits are speaking through the creators you're watching. If you don't think spirits are speaking through Sneeko, remember, Sneako's a guy who built up his audience by going around red pill channels like Myron, me, Nick, all that, and then he'd soak us all up. He'd soak, oh, Zherka's got 200,000 followers on Twitch, so maybe I can red pill his audience a bit, and we play ball, and that's how you cross pollinate viewership and whatever. And that's why I was like in his list of, oh, I'm gonna collab with Alex Jones, Zherka, all these red pill right wing guys. And you don't realize what's happening when a grifter is doing that. And by the way, someone's a grifter if everyone's smiling. Like if someone says Sneako's a chameleon and everyone smiles and laughs, even Sneako, it's kind of like, what's in the air, bro? It's everyone knows it. And obviously, he's such a good chameleon that when he is red pill, we like him because he's a comedian. He can make red pill awesome. But, we should never, ever actually support someone who wants to turn America brown because he got insecure that someone called him a brown clown or whatever long time ago. Maybe when he was 8 years old, something happened to him and he's had a hang up over that. And now he seeks power from brown skinned people to hey, if I can make America completely brown, then I have a better chance at the system. I have a better chance with women, with everything. It'll be normal. Everyone will just be brown. Everything, it's kind of like the infinite Tsukuyomi in Naruto. In high school, when I used to watch Naruto, it's like he wants to put the world under a spell that makes everyone brown. I'm not talking about like Guido brown. I'm not talking about like a tanned Mediterranean olive look. I'm talking about a different kind of brown. All right. I'm not talking about you're going staying at the sun beach. I'm saying you're under the sun in a desert with a camel type brown, like a different kind of brown, a kind of brown that's so respectful to everyone until they're given freedom. Like Muslims are so respectful in their own countries. And then as soon as they're in the US, they're like, well, I have freedom to do whatever I want here. I think I'll conquer this place. Because they wouldn't have the balls to do that in fucking China. Muslims acting up in China, I dare them to fucking pray on the streets of China, see if the CCP fucks with that shit, right? They don't have the balls to do that. They get whipped around like slaves there. And they're like, well, the white man's generosity. We have to just and it's not really generosity, bro. You can slice it however you want. It's subversion by Jews. That's the truth. Okay? That is the ultimate truth. That if Jews weren't there, you could think, oh, white guys are so nice. No, they'd say, get the fuck out of New York immediately. That is the greatest city on earth. That humans who are not even born in New York have an emotional connection to New York. That's how powerful New York is. Humans love the movies, the culture, everything comes from New York. And to see Muslims bowing down praying and right wing channels cucking out and saying, well, we're gotta be friends with these guys. Fuck no, we don't. If something's organized, that implies that it's evil. You're organizing teams of people to not go to a mosque but to pray there. You're organizing it in a different country. You're saying it's not a Christian nation, but anytime they're at Speaker's Corner having their debates, they always say Christian countries are gay, Christian countries are transsexual, Christian country. They have so many insults for your country, insult after insult, insult, and each insult they start off with, your Christian country allows this, your Christian country allows that. It's all an insult to Christ until they want to flip the script and say it's actually a secular country. We only call it Christian to insult it. What? So millions of hours of footage in Speaker's Corner of them insulting Christian countries for being trans is now it's not an attack on the cross anymore. Now it's a secular nation. What? You think George Washington wanted you brown motherfuckers in the country? Are you? And some people are like, well, what if you're a brown American? Isn't Myron and his brother, isn't he on our team? They're saying common sense shit. They're saying you have a mosque to go to. Why are you getting organized right? Why are you getting organized at that part of town, Times Square? And, they love to shove Mandani in your face and all that, even though he was like a Jew dog, immediately exposed as a Jew dog. And And it's just like, dude, you can yap about you can be like Zherka. Since 2012, I've been yapping about the Jews. And people, I lost a lot of friendship from my family members because they thought I was crazy. I was crazy, let's be real. I was not yapping about Jews in an intellectual way. I was more like, I got a feeling, bro. So that's fine. And now it turns out I'm correct and everything, but hold on. Let's just focus on the goal here. We have to stop talking about Muslims because Jews. Okay, here's the truth, man. Okay? I'm just going to say it right now. The only reason I was pro Palestine was to stop babies from being killed. Because if it was the adults only, I wouldn't give a flying. That's how evil those pieces of shit are. Are you fucking joking me? These hook nose. You think some of you guys are convinced. By the way, all these years of being pro-Palestine, and who attacks me the most is the Palestinian flag on Twitter. And I'm not taking it personal. After you see 5,000 flags attack you over a span of 2 years, Nick, you sound crazy. You sound like, hey, we're going to keep talking about the Jews. No, we're done talking about the Jews. Actually, Nick wouldn't even want to live in Palestine. He would choose Israel instead. That's the fucking truth. All right? That is the fucking, all of you would. Every one of you would rather live in Israel than Palestine. That's the, you know that, right? All of you who have met Jews in person, yeah, newsflash, you got along with them better. Even if you told them to their face they rule the world, you got along with them better. You've never been shifty-eyed around a Jew. Stop fucking lying. Maybe a billionaire Jew, maybe an Epstein, a Weinstein, but not a regular Jew. Get the fuck out of here with that. You've never even been snaked by a Jew, you idiot. Are you kidding me? You've been snaked by Arabs. Even when you don't get snaked by them, you avoid them, they take over Times Square. Because the Jews, Zherka, because the Jew. If Jews didn't exist, what do you think? The Arabs would just go home? Idiot. You stupid. You think if Jews disappeared from the earth today, that those Arabs in New York would, I'm going to go home. I'm going to just go home. What a great political strategy. It's like if you could Thanos snap Jews disappearing from Earth, take them to Mars. You think those fucking Arabs will not be on their knees in New York? How stupid are you? Well, no, then we would have power and we would. Then what? We have to play nice with Sneaker. We got to be friends. We always got to be nice. What does Nick force us to be friends with? Andrew Tate, Sneeko, not Sonny Faz, thank God. But what? Why? Why? What is the point of doing you 1,000 favors? What is the point of backing you up for all these years if we have to be friends with Sneeko and Andrew Tate, who turned young American men into Muslims? Like, what is the besides the he has 1 million followers? Andrew Tate has more followers. Besides that strategic, which, by the way, that's Nick's strategic strategy. That's his strategy. Nick's strategy is Andrew Tate and Sneeko have a lot of followers, so I got to be friends with them. Sure, you could be friends with them. We're not going to fucking watch them insult you all day. Insult. All they do is insult Christians all day online. We have to sit here and be like, oh, well, I guess it's just jokes. I guess it's. And it's like, I don't care if we pressure Nick into saying all that stuff about Muslims yesterday because it's still just one guy. Nick is just one dude. They're surrounding him. They're multiplying. They're outbreeding him. They're literally multiplying, and no one talks about that. Well, we're going to talk about Jews now. Dude, we're done talking about Jews. Like, what the fuck is this? Fucking dude, this whole talk about Jews don't stop. What has it done besides embolden Muslims into thinking, yo, look, we're teaming up? I've been saying this for 2 years. There's no teaming up with more primitive soul. You have to just let. That's why they're born in certain nations. They have to work through whatever they have to work through. Okay, they're born. If you're born in a certain country in Yemen, you gotta go work through that, bro. You're not evolving towards the Christ force. You're not nowhere close to that. Okay, this idea we gotta play nice. Hey, John, can you just play nice? No, I've done you 1,000 favors. How about we don't lick Muslim ass? How about that one thing you can't do? We have to fucking just because you what they had like a nice friendship around Yay? Is that no? This is every clip is Sneeko being smug for the last 6 months. And I open my Twitter, I'm like, look at us looking like little bitches again and again and again. How is no one gives a fuck? But I guess we could play Fortnite. Nick and Sneeko can play Fortnite, and I don't want to see that content. Actually, it's actually weird. It's always subversive. It's always Nick on the back foot, Sneeko just saying things, or waiting to go live earlier than him to say things. And it's like, dude, it was cute for the last 6 months, right? Everyone played nice. But right now, you've got Sneeko shitting on Myron. When he's not shitting on Nick, he's shitting on Myron. And Myron does nothing. And people are like, why don't you go at Myron? Why just Nick? Why just Nick? I did go at Myron. I said, defend yourself. Defend yourself because when Myron and his brother are two Muslims saying, hey guys, we know what you're doing in New York. You guys are doing that thing where you're conquering and taking over and getting organized, but you're pretending, oh, we're just praying. We're just praying. It's like, bro, how does no one give a fuck? Right? Like when I open my Twitter feed, it's beautiful. I block everything that I don't like. Even someone said I like pineapple pizza. I block that guy too. I block anything I don't like. And for the last few months, it's like clip has to have a Sneeko. You know how many Sneeko channels I've already muted so they don't pop up? And then he starts shoving his face on the Nick clips, and I'm like, all right, what do I have to just watch Alex Jones all day? Like, what do I have to? Where do I have to go? They're literally multiplying, and it's Zherka. You just feel like you're being suffocated because 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 I'm telling the truth. They are multiplying. That New York thing. This is not something that's going to slow down. Okay, that New York thing is, but the Jews want you to argue and fight with the Muslims. Dude, dude, I'll, 2026, let me tell you right now, man, I've ever done was become pro-Palestine. Even though, if I could go back, I wouldn't take it back, right? I believe, saving children from dying is the right thing to do. But I cannot stand that those adult savages with the Palestinian flag on their thing that always attack me. I cannot believe for the last 2 years I was like, don't respond to them because they're going through a crisis. And now that this is over, now I'll tell you the truth. I would much rather hang around Jews. I would much rather be around a fucking Steiny, a Steinberg. Him and I always argue. He always pisses me off. He always snakes me somehow, right? But I would much rather be around him than, bro. Besides Myron and his brother, they are not sensible people, man. They'll look you in the eyes and say, "We're just doing dawah and praying 5 times a day in the middle of Times Square after Mandani, and there's nothing going on here. Go back to your little church." And dude, nobody sees what's happening. And the ones that are not doing that are having fucking 10 babies, right? Because their fucking wives are literal cattle to them. Like they're going at a insane pace. And as their pace increases, we have our side saying, hey, no, Zerka, be friends with Andrew Tate for the last couple of years. Don't hold it like a secret grudge. And I'm like, bro, I don't hold a secret grudge, but that did secretly piss me off. It's like, do your thing, Nick, but I don't have to be cool with Andrew Tate. And I'm not a politician. I don't have to be cool with fucking Sneeko. I don't have to be cool with these people just because what kind be cool with them because something happens. What happens? Nothing happens, bro. What are you talking about? Nothing happens if you're cool with them. What happens? I'm cool with Myron and his brother, but I don't get credit for that. Those are Muslims. Why don't I get credit for that? I gotta be cool with Sneeko. What the fuck? There's nothing gayer than internet politics. Everyone is trying to push their truth, and well, he's my friend. But there's no friends in this game. Your friends, well, dude. I'll just say it like this, man. Right? They're trying to be so nice to Nick, but I don't think Nick is going there in his mind. I don't think, because remember, he's like a genius, and a genius can be cucked. He can be blindsided. He can be, oh, I didn't see that, right? A genius can be so focused on one thing that he doesn't see it, right? I don't think Nick is seeing an American Islamic caliphate and what they would do to him. I don't think Nick is seeing that Nick Fuentes laughing at the word brown clown on a TTS. Sneeko would remember that. Yeah. You think Sneeko, when they're trying to chop Nick's head off, do you really think Sneeko's gonna stand up and say, he's my friend? he's my friend. 'Cause Nick said it to Zherka. He's like, well, Zherka, you're too evil. You're always attacking Sneeko. It's like, don't be gay. Don't be gay. I'm not. We haven't attacked Sneeko. We laughed at him. Now we're attacking. You really think in an Islamic caliphate in America that Sneeko would stand up and say, not Nick? Sneeko would be like, they did call me brown clown on a TTS that one time. And it's like, bro, this whole juggling friendships don't make me choose. Bro, no one is forcing you to choose a side. We're forcing you to look at the clips of them attacking and insulting your side and you. Okay? And you're seen like as also as a little brother in this too, in a weird way. Watching them all fucking jab at Nick, it's like, first of all, it always looks weird because Nick is alone. Who, don't think of me as a political guy. Who else is on Nick's side politically? It kind of feels like he's alone and the rest of them team up around the Sonnies, the Knicks, you have to outbreed us and do everything. And Nick is just alone and we have to sit there and be like, that's just Nick's strategy. That's the gayest strategy I've ever heard. Like you're closing your eyes and thinking Sneeko is gonna protect you if they let's say Warner, one of the generals, said cut Nick's head off. Sneeko's gonna stand up, raise his skinny little arm, and say, "Wait, Nick is my Kanye friend." That's what he's banking on. He's like, "Yo, if things went to shit, Sneeko would have my back. Sneeko would." No, he wouldn't. Right? No, he wouldn't. And honestly, it's because Sneeko's different skin color. That's the truth, Nick. I know you don't want to hear this, but he thinks whites are out to get him. That's what Sneeko actually thinks. That's how it works. Well, we can be friends with people we disagree with. Sure, yeah, until they cut your head off, right? You can be friends with Myron. You should promote Myron and his brother. Those are two Muslims who say don't go to New York and do that shit. Every day we gotta open these clips, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm not even a political channel. I have to talk about this alone. Can I get some backup? Or have I done enough fucking favors on this side? Can I get some backup? No one wants to back me up. It's like, what the? Well, excuse me, you guys did back me up, but I'm talking about Nick's crowd. You guys want to do the brown clown shit? You guys want to do this fucking Arab shit? Hell no, we're not doing this shit. And I'll even double down further. I can even see Nick partying with some Jews, some fucking Israelis, some fucking even some international Jews. I could see him partying with Jews. I could never see him partying with those fucking Sneeko's friends who want him dead. You can see in their eyes, their dark circles. They want Nick. They want anyone white skinned dead. You can see their primitive lower levels of consciousness. And I'm not doing this to divide. Them praying on the streets of New York, that's division. The fuck are we talking about? And I'm not a political guy like Andrew Tate, Nick. They all have these polite ways that they tell someone to snap out of it. I don't have that. I don't have a polite bone in my body. I just hold it in. I go, this guy, he's got to be going somewhere with this, right? Oh, now we're playing Fortnite with Sneeko. This is great. And it comes to the point where it's like, am I skipping Nick clips? That's not like me. Like that guy's so funny. He's really funny. I like the way his brain works. He's like a genius. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. The genius can be cocked. He can go soft. It happens to everyone, right? It'll happen to anyone. You fucking play Fortnite with a Chinese guy. You start going, yeah, you know what? Maybe these Chinese guys aren't so bad. It'll happen to anyone. It just sneaks up on you. It's like you hang around a homeless guy who's nice, and you go, oh man, maybe the homeless need more. They're doing fentanyl and crack. Like they're not just homeless; they're doing some demonic shit too. Help them out, but like I gave $200, 200 USD to a homeless dude because I have a rule. If they have a horizontal spinal column or anything fucked up with their spine, and they're not faking, it's like you can see it. That's the homeless guy you cannot skip. You have to give that guy the big bread, right? Anyone with a fucked up spine or wheelchair or just, and you can tell it's real. Usually you can tell, well, I mean, just, always give it. And I remember giving it to this guy, and my buddy said, "Why would you do that? You killed that guy. You gave him $200. His spine's all fucked up from all the drugs and all the stuff he's done to himself and probably been through car crashes, whatever. That guy's going to buy fentanyl and die. You killed him by giving him that much money. He's going to overdose." And I'm like, well, I thought I did a good thing. Like, what are you talking about? And yeah, it's like, how do we have to see Muslims in New York is like homeless people, right? It's like you can help them if they're in trouble. You can be nice to them. You can be a good Christian. You can be friends with them. But are they friends with you? And I'm not saying this to manipulate you, like, oh, I don't know about this brown guy. I think Myron is your friend. I think Myron's brother is your friend. I think when they say they don't want to see New York like that, Myron's brother has a master's degree in theology. So you'd think he's the most brainwashed, but he's not. He's an American still, and he's like, you know what? That is way too weird, right? So now we're gonna see, what was it, Nick, Myron, everyone just Jews, 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 talking about the Jews nonstop, and it's like, okay, bro, but we're living next to these Arabs. Like the Jews you don't even see. There's like a million top Jews that you don't even see. They're not even in the ether. They're behind they're behind the scenes. They're pulling the strings, but you don't even see them. And another thing, you have another problem. Like I don't know how Nick didn't think of this. Is like if you did kick out the Jews in America or did anything to stop all this shit, those Muslims will pull out swords. They're not leaving without a fight. Are you kidding me? What do you think the Jews gonna be like? Hey, Muslims fight. Okay, that's not what's happening. Like, dude, be real with yourself. It's like, and they're both Semitic people. Let's be real. Like, they're the same fucking Jews, Muslims. It's like you can try and be friends with this, but and I recommend you can be friends with these people unless you have an online platform. If you have an online platform, he's using you to subvert you. And Nick's like, "Oh no, this can't be that bad." Dude, Sonny Faz, an Italian Catholic boy, got converted by Sneeko. And they forced it in the beginning. It was on camera, remember? So, and that should I'll say it like this, man. That's Nick's blunder because that's Nick's audience, like an Italian Catholic boy, same DNA as Nick. Nick should be like, how the fuck did he sweep him under the rug? Because when Sonny Faz was hanging out with me, he's like, I was thinking of having Nick on my YouTube channel. I'm like, yeah, yeah, do that. And when we asked Sonny if this happened, when I told Sonny that, I was convinced, oh, he's gonna he's gonna come more to the right, and he's maybe gonna be more political. And then he went completely the other side, and not because he wanted to, because Sneeko did that thing to him and just smiled. He smiled when he did it, and people don't realize that you you could say, sure, Nick lost one person from Nick lost Sonny Faz to Sneeko, but Sonny Faz has a huge following. So how many more white boys followed? And all of that is downstream from Tate. So while you make good connections with Andrew Tate, he's you, and he doesn't even care if you're Muslim. He's just converting people because that's what he does. Like he wants a bigger army to protect them from all those cases and all that. And you don't realize that it's like, dude, they're playing chess. You're playing checkers. And it all comes back to Nick's green eyes. Like my older brother. Look at the photo I just posted. Like my dad. They are so moral that they can be tricked, right? They are so. Meet a person with green eyes. They are so moral that they can easily be fooled, but not. It's not like you're fooling them intellectually. You have to be friends with them first. And Nick has that thing just like me, where if I'm friends with someone, I stop seeing all the bad. That happens all the time. That's why you'll see a lot of arguments with, hey, we're super cool now. Now we hate each other. Where did that come from? It's the fact that they used you to do something. I'm going to convert Sonny Faz. I'm going to do this. They're doing things in the shadow. And look, if Nick says, hey, let's go to the church, let's go to whatever. Let's say you join Nick. Let's say he meets you in the street. He's doing his thing. It's not a forceful thing he's doing. But when they bring the imam to the back room for Sonny Faz and they do all that on camera, I'm not even making shit up. It's on camera. They pressure him, and he's at the lowest point of his life. No money, no clout, lost everything, no girl. He broke down in tears, crying. He's like, God, just do something for me. And so he related that. They told him, you got to relate that crying that you mentally broke down in the mosque. That's the calling from God. And we all know in the next 20 years that Sonny's going to come back to the cross. We all know that, right? It might take him 20 years because he's an actual fucking idiot. He's literally a fucking idiot. Like, if I was hanging around Sonny, I would have converted him easily. I remember what it was like being in person with him, driving around. Easily, I would have converted him. But I didn't like to be around him because in my head, it's like, if you're too young, I don't like being around you. It's like, well, we don't have that much in common. I'll hang out with a older guy like Myron or Gary or whatever. Fuck Gary. But anyways, that's the thing. It's like I shouldn't have to fucking follow these guys around, and I don't have that forceful thing like you gotta convert, and I don't have that bone in my body. Neither does Nick. But Sneeko, he has it because he thinks that the whites are out to kill him. Remember when he beefed the Groypers, and now he's convinced they're trying to get him killed. He just has that white people want me dead. He's tapping into ancestral DNA of like when maybe white people, maybe one white person chased someone down in his family, chased down a Filipino or a black guy and said, "Hey, get over here, boy, get over here, you little." Maybe he had that like flash ancestral memory, and now he associates that with if I can be cool with Nick, but subvert his people. Like there's a whole game plan to Sneeko's, and you could tell there's a game plan because Sneeko doesn't have a mind of his own. You know, like he doesn't wake up. Nick adds concepts to his game plan, like he's dropping cards. And Sneeko doesn't have concepts. He doesn't have a game plan. He wakes up and plugs into what is my opinion, and he plugs into the machine of Islam. That's a powerful ass machine with a bunch of thought forms that are corrupt. And you're telling me that he's not going to do heavy amount of damage while Nick sits there and goes, "Who could he convert? He just converted Sonny Faz." And what about the fucking niggas that watch Sonny? Because remember, kids want community, right? Because community leads to loving thought forms, so you believe in God again, right? So hey, maybe I'll get the community in a mosque. It's like, dude, this is so. When I remember when Tate bowed to the cube, and I just remember, like in the movies, where you know that sound where it's like he's the evil bad guy. You know that sound effect that like that Inception. I remember Tate going like, "This is not a genuine conversion. Holy fuck, is it gonna have a massive effect? Like a massive fucking effect." And you're not going to see it until what? They'll say in 5 years, like they always say, Zherka, you're always right. In 5 years, you're about to see white boys join ISIS. I guarantee fucking to you because they're bringing community. They're bringing all the, I'm fucking multiplying quicker. There's more people on this side, blah, blah, blah. And you got to remember, the white souls are, not that you should treat anyone different, but they're more individuated. They're more towards ego consciousness, which comes with being lonely. That's what Nick doesn't get. Like, smart people are lonely. Arabs have group souls because they don't have group souls, but they lean towards instinctual group identity because it's hard to be lonely. Humans who just take it on the chin and say, "I gotta grow up. Everyone I love is gonna, slip through my fingers one day. I have to be my own thing." That ego consciousness that Arabs can't face, they can't face it. That comes with immense lonely energy that is pushed into your career and stuff or marriage or whatever. But the more evolved souls will be more lonely. That means those guys can easily tap out and say, you know what? Instead of progressing with my ego consciousness and evolution, instead of doing this hard ass Jungian shit, I'm gonna walk inside of a mosque. I'm gonna walk inside of a mosque. And and it's scary to be a role model and not draw a line in the sand. Like I remember thinking, I'm like, we're anti-Muslim, but we're not anti-Sneeko. Nick, that sounds retarded. We're gonna be anti-Muslim, but the biggest 1 million follower Muslim channel, we're not gonna be. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't give a fuck how much Fortnite you guys play. I don't care what you guys do with Kanye. Like, this game plan's retarded. If anything, can you be friends with Sneeko offline so we don't see that anymore? Can you do? And people are thanking me. They're like, "Yo, you pushed Nick into giving the best stream of his life," which I don't know if it was the best. It was probably one of his best because he just shits on Islam in this clip. It's you could tell he's not doing it with in a venomous way. He's doing it like, hey, get out of the country. You guys are doing way too much damage. You guys are not playing fair at all. It was just like the perfect speech. And in my head, I'm like, oh, I waited 6 months. I'll be honest, I waited like 6 months for something like that because it felt like every Nick speech was followed up with them expanding more because they're just speeches. Unless if you give a speech and Sonny's converting, what the fuck is going on? The speech has to activate people into saying, I'm going to make a Twitter account with the Crusader logo and I'm going to support Catholic content and I'm going to read. Some of you guys have to read Thomas Aquinas. You guys got to get into the game. You can't just be, oh, I want to watch online dramas. What the fuck are you doing? You're not helping at all. You have to get in the game because I'll tell you this. How many times have you seen Arabic numerals or Arabic letters, and they got that little Palestinian flag, which we defended those Palestinian children, and they still turned on us. Those dirty hook no, those dirty. Hey, Zherka, are you racist? I am not racist. Now I'm. You understand me? Now, bro, it's been years of like, okay, we're following Nick's game plan, and what? His game plan is pushing us to be friends with Sneeko. Well, can't you just be mature? No, I cannot be mature. It's Sneeko. It's like, even if he was a Muslim, he's like watching his girl get smashed. Okay? Nothing adds up. And why Nick looks crazy pushing us in this direction? Well, he's not pushing my audience. Fuck no. We all say no here. But why he looks crazy doing this is because Nick doesn't even like Sneeko, bro. You think those guys, besides content, besides content, do they have anything in common? It's like a boy genius versus a fucking absolute monkey brain. I'm not being racist. Like he is a monkey brain. Look, bro, I remember telling Steve, I'm like, yo, you should be Malcolm X, Black Power. Because that would be cool. I think all of us would say, yeah, that's kind of cool. You did the Black Power thing. You rep the Black King. But Sneako's like, no, there's more Muslims. I get more money if I go this way. Bro, if Malcolm X was running around sucking off Arabs, nobody would remember him. Like, he chose the harder way. We thought he'd go in that direction. And this is just, I want to say it's like 6 months overdue. I should have said something 6 months ago, but when you think there's no way Nick's gonna get softer, it's like how fun could Sneeko be? Everyone's like, why don't you, how come Zherka, you disappear from the internet and you're not as involved? And so Sneeko's a closer to friend to Nick. Because I don't want to be friends like we're in high school. Like, this kind of gay. The friendship thing is getting corny, bro. What are you talking about? I don't have to be friends with Nick. How about we're on the same team? Isn't that enough? I have to go fly out to fucking have coffee with him. But like, Sneeko's doing too much, bro. That's a little gay. Like, I gotta go have coffee. That's just retarded. If you support someone on Twitter, that's enough. That's enough. You don't have to do the Sneeko thing where he has to host everyone and fire up their channel. Hey, fire up your channel and host Nick. So, bro, I'm not even doing content. What the fuck? Why do I have to do that? Anyways, I've done a million, not even asked for favors, just like, here you go. The one Catholic channel. There's a lot of Catholic channels that I watch that I think they're cucked and soft. I was like, all right, favor after favor. Just keep helping Nick. The more I did that, the more he's just like, Zherka, you got to play ball with Sneeko. What did he say a couple months ago? He said, yeah, Zherka's always starting shit. And I was like, what? Don't get angry. Don't overreact. Don't. He's turning me into a straight. Well, Zherka's just being mean to Sneeko. And I'm like, okay, he's younger. He doesn't get it, right? He probably doesn't even think that losing Sonny's his fault. Which I maintain he's a more Catholic channel than mine. Like, what the fuck? That's your fault. You should see it as like war, like actual war. I don't give a. You're not a regular guy. If you're doing politics, you're not a regular guy. You're moving pieces. What the fuck? Like, imagine if Trump sat down with someone who said, "We took Sonny from you." Trump would be like, "Sonny's," and he'd go home and still in Mar-a-Lago be angry. He'd still be boiling angry that they took him. They'd be like, "Those guys made me look bad." And so I remember I didn't even say anything when they're in New York, Nick and Sneeko hanging out and playing together. Because I was like, oh, this is cute. They should be friends, just be friends, but don't let Sneeko do all this, chess around you. And Nick has this weird temperament that's people cannot relate to this, but I can relate to this. He lets things go on over and over and over. He lets bad things happen to him 10 times in a row, and on the 11th time he says no more. It's time to destroy this guy's life. That's exactly like me. He'll Mike fuck me over 10 times before I destroy him, right? Then I come in hot. Same with anyone in my life. And that's a horrible mindset to have in politics. Just, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. They're literally breeding in the middle of the greatest city ever made, New York. Like Neo Atlantis, New York. You don't even know that. How do you not know that? That New York cannot fall. Any other city can fall. New York cannot fall. How the fuck let LA fall before New York? What the fuck are we doing? And And it's weird if you're attached to the Americana energy, you love New York, right? LA is not that amazing. You love New York. If you love the American spirit, New York is real to you. It's not something that you're gonna have falafel with Sneeko and blah blah blah, right? Like New York should take out all the Balkanoids, all the Croatians, all the Albanians, get them all out of New York, leave it for Germans, Irish. Let's leave it to what it was. Let them build the technology and then they give it to the world, just like they gave the internet to the world. That's the game plan. So everyone can individuate and have a better lifetime. That's the name of the game is you might feel cucked saying, well, Zherka, your totem pole of white is lower than this guy's. How the fuck does that hurt my feelings if I'm reaching a higher level in society because of it? When I touched the internet, I went to a higher plane of existence. That's the whole point. And if you guys saw what I see, you guys would be like, whoa, what the fuck? How about we stop the immigration and let the whites dominate? Because when they dominate, it's not one country dominating. They're actually dominating for the world. Like white people think in case of alien attack or something. They're thinking team player thoughts. You're not getting fucked over. You know what I mean? And you don't know what I mean. You're a fucking idiot. None of you do. Like I got so many comments saying, I support you, Zerka, but what if I can have an Arab buddy? And it's like, really? They're outbreeding you, and now's the time for you to play. What are you playing? What are you playing? Tetherball with an Arab? They don't even know what tetherball is. They eat weird foods, bro. They eat weird foods. They drink their tea with lime, not lemon. They do weird color shit, bro. Color nigga shit. Like they, bro. They tried to gaslight you and say eating a pizza is the same as eating rice with your fingernails. And I'm like, hey man, no one's racist, but if we're gonna start this is the like racial Olympics. It's like that post Manny Pacquiao's dad got angry at him when he's a kid, so he ate his dog, and everyone's like, Zerka, you're a good Christian. Don't fucking attack Filipinos. Don't attack Sneako's people. I'm like, what? Dude, I pulled a knife in a video game, hypothetically, but I pulled a knife on a dude in Albania that was rude to a dog with a rock. Imagine if they ate that dog or that cat in front of me in fucking Haiti or somewhere darker than the niggas in Albania. Bro, I'll say this, man. Countries that are evil to dogs. Have you seen people are like, yo, you're so fired up because Sneeko keeps talking about dogs. It's like, bro, I have a kitten. I don't even have a dog. I have a kitten, like a perpetual kitten. She will never be a bigger size than a kitten. I've got a really expensive, flat-faced kitten. Okay, and just the Stinko posted this thing on Twitter where he's sitting holding a kitten, and he's like, "Cats are better than dogs," and I'm like, but all of his arguments about dogs can be applied to cats, bro. You don't have to talk about fleas. You can talk about worms. They bring worms and stuff like that. So I know he's lying. I know that if it's the same logic, dude. And I just know that if my knock on one, if my cat was sitting on Sneako's table and we heard like "Rrrr," and it's like, what the fuck was that? And it's Sneako's stomach growling because he's hungry. Do you guys really think that I'd be like, oh, this is my friend because Nick told me to be friends? Let me tell you this, man. I've done a zillion favors for Nick. He didn't even ask. I just like support, like, repost. You just close the fucking borders. Like, stop making America brown. This is our guy. Which is weird because you look at you look at the internet. It's like, who else is talking like Nick? There's no one else to support. And I'll tell you this, man. My biggest regret, lover, that guy who's paid by the Jews, Tommy Robinson. My biggest regret was fucking cutting him off because we're this part of the dissident right. That is the dumbest shit we have ever done. Let that money. That guy was so effective. What the fuck are we doing? That was retarded. Who cares? He's at the end. Mossad's gonna fucking end that guy anyway, right? So just don't meet him in person. But we could have at least liked his tweets. What the fuck was wrong with that? Yeah, he's a fucking agent. We could have still fucking. He's still doing something. Just don't go to the rallies. Don't get arrested. But we could have liked those tweets, man. And it's weird. I grew up watching Tommy Robinson, and I remember thinking, like, I'm not even British. I don't have blue eyes. I'm not. But there's something about just invaders in your town, they like literal squatters, that is so cocked, man. He's so, and remember, the UK was always shit. So, who cares? That's not an emotional thing to talk about. The new UK has fallen. It wasn't even shit before it fell. Let's be real. New York was always awesome. New York is all the Chad energy in the universe. All of the most highest level intellects would meet in New York. All of them, including, I'll say it like this, man. I would rather hang out with Jeffrey Epstein than an Arab guy, right? Than a nice Arab guy. Because at least Epstein doesn't marry 13-year-olds. Yeah. Like, find me that email where he married, like, listen, man, it's one thing to be a creep. It's another thing to need to marry someone at an age where they can't even enter ego consciousness. They can't even say I am. They can only say I like. They can say I like chips. I like, and so that's a joke, fuck Jeffrey and all that. But yeah, so I'm not just disappointed. I'm more like, some people are like, Zherka, you've done so much for Nick. Why would you draw the line at Sneeko? And I'm like, if you need an answer for that, you are a disgusting animal. Unfollow me immediately. And yes, if the nicest guy, he defended us, he's such a good guy, Nick. If that guy is going to force me to watch Sneeko clips, I'd rather just, hey, man, this is my stop. We're done here. I'll just watch you as entertainment. This is me and my boys. We're just gonna watch you as entertainment because it's been 6 months of forcing us to smile at Sneeko clips, and it just feels like they're playing chess while we're being nice, sincere people. That's why if you look at my tweets, I haven't been mean to Arabs. Like, I get fiery sometimes, but I don't get that mean. And now it's like, I love New York more than anyone else on earth. I think I'm going to go down right here. I want to go down right here and say, I want to mark onto the earth of the ground. Starting today, if New York falls because of Arabs, don't ever fucking blame the Jews. Because guess what, man? If you Thanos snapped right now and blinked all Jews out of existence, what the fuck do you think? What do you think those Arabs are going to do? Say, I'm going back home. The Jews aren't giving me money anymore. And yeah, it was their game plan, but you got to understand, man, we're past that. We're in 2026. They're your neighbor now, right? And they're going to eat you. They're going to eat your eyeballs for juju beans. You don't even get what's happening anymore, okay? It's kind of like, well, the Jews brought the dragon, the seven-headed dragon here, and it's like, Nick, you have to fight the dragon. What the fuck are you doing? Well, no, the Jews brought the dragon here, Zherka. So? It's still a fucking erratic, non-thinking, organized dragon. It doesn't go away just because you pointed out the problem of who brought the dragon here. The spellcaster brought in the dragon, and now Zherka, put your sword away because I like playing Fortnite with Sneeko, the guy who has 1 million followers, converting people like Sonny Fast. That's our guy. Get the fuck out of here. Like, we're not doing this, bro. My audience is not doing it. We've been too loyal. If we gotta play Fortnite with Sneeko, this is the line in the sand. Fuck never. And And it's not a sad thing, really. It's a grown up thing. It's a grown up thing to acknowledge that the dragon is at your doorstep, and the Jews barely even exist right now. They barely exist. Even if you implemented everything you're trying to do, it would take so many years. You have a dragon on your doorstep. You're talking about the Jews. It's over. But well, they brought the dragon in, Zherka. In what video game? What do you think Link won't fight the dragon because Ganon brought it in? There's no video game in history that works like this, right? And people are like, "Well, can you be friends with a Muslim, or you're just a bigot?" I'm friends with Myron and his brother. They're Muslims. The guy finished a master's degree on his religion. That's like the highest level Muslim, and he's saying they're not supposed to be doing this on the streets of New York, especially in a Trump year. You know how bold that is on a Trump year, the first year. Does anyone realize that this is like Joe Biden level circus? And I keep looking at TikToks. I'm trying to find people. Not even Tommy Robinson gives a fuck about it. Maybe he's occupied with Europe. It's like, how come no one gives a fuck? Like, we just started the year and we're letting this happen. It's just like some moms I see on TikTok that are on my side. And I don't know. I don't know, man. It's like, what are they going to do? They're women. They're not even going to help us. Yeah. So, can you be friends with Muslim? Of course you can. But if they're ever subverting you, you know how they do that thing where they push you into their, what if you just convert now, nothing happens. If you just convert, have you seen those clips? If you just convert right now, nothing happens. Like, if you just say these words, then, dude, that's fucking twisted, right? They're trying to erode and dissolve your free will to join their faith. And their faith is, what is it? Okay, let's just break it down. They worship Muhammad, not Allah. That's why throughout history they were called Mohammedans. If you read the Quran correctly, it's not about Allah. It's about Muhammad. That's why they named their fucking kid Muhammad. That's why they have that group stole instinct with every mo behavior. And if you ever think, oh, these guys are our team players, they don't even get along with Shias. They don't get along with their own kind, right? When have you seen a Mormon, a Catholic, an Orthodox killing each other in 2026 with swords on the street? Like, it doesn't happen. These Muslims kill each other on the streets fighting for who's got a better hook nose, right? And remember, they say the devil lives in the nose. Like, in the Quran, it says the devil lives in the nose. Why would they say that if they're the hook nose people? It makes no sense. It's like, are you guys with the devil? Right? And they say a lot of weird shit, and they throw. Someone asked me, Zerka, you're anti-Israel. What's going on? Why'd you stop talking about it and stuff like that? And I'm like, it's over. Okay, it's over. Okay. First of all, Israelis don't even throw gays off the roof, right? They party with those homos, with those fucking. Are they really that bad, right? The only evil part of Israelis is their Muslim blood, where they have to kill babies. That's all just Muslim DNA. Let's not pretend they don't look exactly the same. Like, Jews and Arabs look exactly the same. Okay, I'm just throwing that out there. They have a lot of mixed blood right there. Okay, like, I got an uncle. He's brown eye, brown hair, and his wife is brown hair and blue eyes, and somehow the kids all came out blonde. And I'm like, oh, it's like, not to be rude, but he squirted out a bit of that whiteness that he had in him. How did three kids come out blonde hair, blue eyes? But you don't see that from Israelis and Muslims. Like, they just squirt out the same carbon copy NPC soul, like Bas Jihad, this, that, this. And it seems like Jews go towards ego consciousness at a rapid pace, where they become like Epstein and start thinking everything is me, 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 I need to rape, I need to. And the Muslims go into we consciousness. What are we doing? What are we eating? That's why they're always hanging around playing cards in a we format. Like they think of themselves as a group, which I don't know what's more primitive because it seems like the only person in the middle is the Christian, you know, who says, "I will help us." Right? He thinks like that. He thinks for the collective with his own free thought. And I know a lot of people are like, "Well, it does look like reality is just Christians as the good guys." It seems that way, but who knows? You know, aren't we all God's people? And it's like, dude, it seems that way because it is that way. The Christians are the good guys. Like you talk to a fucking shitty Mormon. It's not that bad. Talk to a shitty Orthodox. Jay Dyer ain't that bad of a guy. Talk to a Catholic. They're pretty cool. Talk to an Arab and they start saying, "Brother, can I lick you with my dawa prowess, and then I'm gonna take you on a flying carpet to." And if you ever want to really understand Islam, go to their fucking country, you fucking idiot. Go there. And then you'll start sounding like a Jew immediately when you're there. You're like, "Whoa, what the fuck is going on?" There's a fucking left-leaning liberal bitch on TikTok, and she went to Palestine to support the effort, and it like blew up because they scammed her in three different ways, and then she called the authorities, and the authorities scammed her as well. And her whole shop was not. They give her a certificate. You want to buy this shop, and it was just some dude in sandals, and she lost her whole life savings. And then she made a TikTok saying, "Should I stay here and support the cause with my tea shop or was it a coffee shop?" And I remember watching that video. And I'm like, "Oh man, am I in the wrong side of history, dude?" Like I'm all for saving babies, but man, the idea that I'm empowering and emboldening these types of adults in Palestine that are like scamming the nicest person in the world. She was such a sweetheart. Like, she's an idiot, but she's a sweetheart. And honestly, I have that evil thing in me where I'm like, you leftists de- deserve to fucking get scammed that hard because you're too trusting in these people. But then you watch them like, dude, go watch them around the cube when their like spiritual prowess is entering levels of Kaioken. They're entering levels of Kaioken horny, and they're just like, "I'm doing it, Akbar! I'm doing it, Akbar! Akbar, over here! I found a woman by the cube." It's like, dude, how does God not exist around the cube for you guys? How the fuck are you turning into a beast, an animal, around the cube? Right? And they say, "We don't worship a cube. We just pray towards it in every spot of earth, plus do a left-handed halo path around it, and all of our spiritual energy goes towards it." That's not praying towards a cube. You guys are idol worshippers. You don't like cubes. And I'm like, dude, the religion of love and sacrifice has to put up with this. Like the religion that says your father died for you eternally. So you're covered because you just can't get it together until you fully evolve and are close to him. That religion of love is being preoccupied by the Sneeko show. Today, I'm going to convert more groypers. The people don't realize there's like, have you seen defective groypers that leave the movement to just do whatever? They just do whatever and they just kind of turn into, I can't think of, I think one of the biggest was Jaden McNeil, right? Was it him? There's a few other names I can't remember, but just raw energy. And these defectors don't think that they don't go to Islam. Like, bro, one day they're going to go that. I'm sure some of them have. It's like just the idea that Sneeko's making you laugh and entertaining you. And then we saw Sneeko do it to Sonny. If he could do it on camera, imagine what they're doing off camera. And here's the crazy thing is they don't think it's evil. Everyone else does. Even a Chinese guy says, "Yeah, you don't push someone into faith like that, where you're rubbing on his leg and I'm making you smile." And was this Sheikh Uthman, right? Is that another one of Nick's friends, Sheikh Uthman? Zherka, hey Zherka, thanks for 1,000 favors. Thanks for having our back, but don't make me choose. To make you choose, bro. They're literally on the screen. Why the fuck are they on the screen? If I mute 10 Arab channels in a row, and they somehow squeezed into a Knicks stream. Where the fuck do you want us to go, my nigga? Twitter ain't that big. So yeah, man. Hey, man. Love and unity, right? I preach love and unity, guys. I want you guys to flourish, but really, for years, I've never told you guys what to do because I always think you'll get there eventually. Clearly, you guys are stupid. Make Twitter accounts, make accounts all over the internet, pushing the cross to the top, and do your fucking part. It takes 8 minutes, then you can do whatever the fuck you want. You don't even have to watch us. It takes 8 fucking minutes, bro. Just do the posts. Could be add a spiritual shield on Twitter because it seems like I insult one and then my algorithm says, "Oh, you insulted an Arab? Watch Kagebanshin no Jutsu, they multiply and they're everywhere." And I'm like, hook nose, hook nose, hook nose, hook nose. I'm hooked. I'll just fight these guys. I'm not gonna go to the swimming pool. I'm gonna argue with these guys on Twitter all day. That's not my fucking job, dude. My job is to remind people I don't promote the Christ like a regular modern Catholic channel, Protestant, Orthodox, or any of that. Remember, I'm the only one that says the Christ is here for us, even if you're not a Christian. I don't think those guys are allowed to even say that. I'm telling you that it's not, oh, I think this is the right answer. Oh, this religion might be. There's none of that. It's I'm not making a informed decision on which religion is logically the soundest. I'm not doing that at all. I'm saying through clairvoyant investigation, through my experiences plus the world's, Jesus Christ is God of Earth evolution, and everyone telling you to play Fortnite with Muslims. Hey man, that's awesome. Do that. Not on a political channel. What is this shit, bro? What the fuck is this shit? We're not playing Fortnite with these guys. Actually, you know what? These guys don't even like us. They don't even like us, dude. They've never liked us. That's the truth, babe. Have these guys, besides Myron and his brother, have any of them ever liked us? None of them. Like they even when they're friends, they make their little on the low jokes, their sneak disses, and it's like, okay, Zherka's gonna sneak this back. Yeah, Zherka's not doing this alone. Everyone else just fucking turning the cheek. Like, what is this shit? So, anyways, I'm gonna get a pina colada. I'm gonna enjoy my day, but I give my life story. I give my life story because I want to remind people that, dude, man, just because you work hard in life doesn't mean you're not gonna disappear from living around these people. Like, do you think for the rest of my life I'll avoid New York just because it went to shit? No, no, I love New York. I just have to go there with a fucking frown now. I have to be like, man, they have so many countries to do this at. Why are they here? Right? Like, at least you'll find Jews say, I love America. They'll like kind of confuse themselves about that, but the Arab does not love America. And the dragon's here. So you can do your whole show about Jew, 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 but I think, the turkey's cooked, the dragon's already in New York, and any American city can fall, and I wouldn't be that surprised, but not New York. That's like a nightmare. That is a nightmare thing. That is like enough for me to say, I don't even like Twitter, man. This is just every time I'm scrolling on the feed thing, right, I'm just seeing all that slop. I always come across the prayer, the collective group soul prayer, because we don't have ego consciousness yet. We're evolving at a much slower pace than everyone else. They don't even ride horses, right? They're not even they don't even have Hollywood good looks. Like, who's the Arab in Hollywood? Like, not one of them. You know what I mean? There's fucking Jackie Chan beat them to Hollywood. So fuck them. And yeah, it is strange when the Albanian guy is getting online and saying all this. Like, it should really be Trump, man. It shouldn't be me or Nick. It should be Trump saying, "Get the fuck out of New York. That's my city, bitch. We're not playing Fortnite with you. Get the fuck out. You want to play Fortnite? Put your headset on. You're not allowed in the country. We'll talk to you from the headset, you fuck." And everyone's let us down. All right, let's open it up for the community. No stupid people today. Like, I'm not even in a troll mood. I wanna have a pina colada right now. Yeah, go ahead. Minisi, what is your gripe? Speak or get pushed.
Hey, what's up, Zherka?
Damn.
So, I wanted to go back on the whole Sneeko thing, how you said, like, these people, they act a specific way because they have an individuation problem, right? So I was wondering, what do you think it is that, uh, what do you think the issue is for Sneeko? What do you think he has within him that he's suppressing, that he's avoiding to individuate, which pushes him to fall into this group consciousness thing?
Yeah. I mean, his is such a simple case. It has to do something with a girl, because you can see in all the Sneeko clips, a girl says something about skin color. He goes into a depressive frown immediately. And so something happened to him in grade school or something where, Sneeko also sometimes thinks things are racial when they're not. And he has this thing that's like, I am fucking up my evolution because I am a mixed race. He has this thing where he like really thinks he started off on the wrong foot, and he didn't, bro. Everyone's working on their shit, like relax, bro. So he has like this hang up with the fact that he's not whiter skin or whatever, and that has something to do with his like grade school trauma, something like that. But it's also he wants to have an army backing him up, because remember, he went to Islam because the whole internet hated him, so he needed an army that'll defend him even if he's in the wrong, even if he's dating a stripper or whatever. This is perfect for him. And he logically put it out on the table and said, because let's be real, Sneeko fits way more with the red pill crowd. That's why he did so good with the red pill crowd, and he's doing well. I don't know. He's doing more of a moderate kind of thing now. I don't know how successful he is, but I think he was really all over the scene with the red pill crowd, because he grew up with the internet. He fits in with the Nazi section, believe it or not. And yeah, you can be mixed race and fit in with that. There's plenty who have gone through that. And now he's stuck between worlds, because he started off as the only Trump guy, and now he's anti-Trump for reasons that don't even fucking make sense anymore. And all of this has to do with the insecurity that, oh, I'm not a part of the club. I'm not a I'm not even a part of the club, you fucking idiot. Like when people say, Zerka, who do you want ruling the world? I say Germans. What do you think? I go on here like a fucking idiot and say, can I get a Croatian and an Albanian guy? We need a Croatian president and an Albanian president. Stat, like I've never. That's like the dumb. That's how we go backwards in the world. So I've always, that's why Trump, that's why I got so pumped for Trump. I'm like, German DNA. This is he's linked to Atlantis. This is really good. And not that he's perfect, but this is really good. Like finally some law and order after, remember, 2007 was the peak. After that, I think Matt Walsh said it really well. But after Obama ruined everything, you're still seeing the effects of Obama right now. And because Obama is just, he was soft. It wasn't that he was black, it was that he was soft, but it's that softness came from the fact that he's black. Black guys have this thing where they want to lead themselves, but not the world. And white people have this thing where it's like they have that Steve Jobs thing. The more white someone is, the more they want to lead the world. Even if it's like, hey, come take my wife, they can get off balance like that. And everyone jokes about it. They know it's true, but it's kind of like, do you want a white boss or do you want an Arab boss? Do you want a black boss? Do you want a Chinese boss? Oh, well, you can have good people from all colors if you play Fortnite with. Shut the fuck up, bro. You want the white boss. You want the white guy. Because the white boss, it's not even that he's being the nice guy, it's that he knows he has an intuitive energy that what goes around comes around. So he just gives you your fucking paycheck without snaking you. That's the truth. That's why, like, look into your past. Have you been snaked by white people ever? When you see a white lady at the mall, at the kiosk, is she conniving? Is she doing something to any color? No. And if you're darker, they like you even more. What the fuck? So it's like anywhere you go with this, the whiter the skin, it seems like in the individual, yeah, you could have a bad white guy, but in the collective, your chances are really high that, white people are just kinder, sweeter. I want to say more evolved, but that's illegal to say because eventually, through the scope of time, everyone is supposed to get there. So you're not supposed to judge. But yeah, some souls chase each other around with bamboo spears. That's a lower level of consciousness. That's more group soul, instinctual, and not ego consciousness. Right? Ego consciousness puts a tie on and goes to work. It's very different. And do I think Sneeko is a genuine conversion? Well, if he's known for being a chameleon, then what's genuine about him? And I don't mean that. I don't mean to say that he's evil. I mean to say that like he's a child. What are you gonna spank a child? But like, you know what I mean? It's not that he's evil. He's just his soul is very immature. A mature soul says, "I am Albanian, but I want Germans in charge." Now, most Albanians would be like, "Oh, I don't know. That sounds cucky, bro. I think can we try an Albanian? We don't have time to try. We tried a fucking black guy with Obama. Look how that went, right? What's blacker than that guy is the fucking Albanian. We don't want to try that shit." So a lot of people don't realize that your ego has to be put aside. If your ego consciousness is turning dark and in on itself, you have to put that shit aside. You have to put that shit aside. Like you got to put your ego aside when you talk to your mom. She's a lot more liberal than you. So yeah, you just like adapt to what's happening in the world. Now, this idea that we have to like put our ego aside because a 1 million follower channel is converting Sonny Faz and Italian boys, and Zherka gets thousands of emails saying that you're the reason I didn't convert. You're the reason I didn't go that way. And I read these emails, I'm like, dude, I want to be on vacation. I don't want to do this part right now. I've already done enough. I want to be on vacation right now. And every time I want to lean back, I go, oh, there they are multiplying again on my fucking screen after I muted 50 of their accounts. How the fuck are they doing that? Oh, it's because they have, what, 10 kids each? They're fucking gumball machines. Which, by the way, is another low IQ trait, is having a bunch of kids is like an extremely, oh, Andrew Tate is telling you to have a bunch of kids because he's a bro. He has kids and disappears on them. That's the fucking truth. Okay? Bald father. Like, come on, bro. And remember, Tate Tate snaked his own Islamic base. They don't even like him right now because he said, England has to remain white. Like just like the Dalai Lama said, and everyone. Like, are we forgetting that Tate did it it was a strategic option, and then he said, there's no one gonna follow this shit. They're just gonna protect me, and then Sneeko, Sonny Faz. I can't think of more names, but I know they're bubbling there until I call them faggots, and then they go, oh shit, Zherka is. But I don't know why I can do everything wrong and still have the most fucking aura on the platform. Everyone else looks like they're playing Fortnite with these. I can do everything wrong, and young men will still email me saying, "Talk about the Christ, do that." Because you know what? It's about being genuine, dude. Okay, is Sneako's conversion to Islam genuine? Does anyone buy that shit? There's not. He converted when he was dating a stripper for a year, and everyone's saying Zerka's a sinner because he talks about his sins, but Sneeko hides them, so he's a good guy. And everyone's like, "Well, why don't you just leak Sneeko?" And I'm like, "Why would I leak him? He's a buddy. He's red pill right now. Who knows?" I said Sneeko's final form is going to be transgender, and it was weird. Like if Sneeko had like a lot less followers, then it wouldn't be that big of a problem because who would he be converting really if he had, you know? But he has this thing where Sonny Fast didn't even want to convert, even with all that influence. They backroomed him. I was the only channel who reacted to it, and I went soft. I went easy on that fucker. I should have gone hard because if you ever meet a kid without a father figure in their life, and the mom steps in as the father figure, that is psychic damage. That is so fucking low to do that, to bring in a mom that's rubbing your knee on camera when you don't have a father figure and you're having. And remember, I predicted young men when they're entering ego consciousness at 21 years old are going to have a huge crisis. It happens to everyone. Some people it's more than others. If you don't have a father figure, you must have the father archetype. I'm not saying archetypal energy like it's not real. I'm saying it has to be fulfilled by an imam or something. And, Sonny snapped and said, holy shit, I'm going to die. I've been 21 years on earth. I don't know what I'm doing. I lost the views, the money, the everything. This is too tough. And he snapped, and Sneeko saw him bleeding and said this. this is a good move because his audience will become my audience, and this is perfect. And strategically, it is a perfect move. Let's be real. It's if you look at how Sneeko moves in the industry, very few times that he does something for a friend. When you see how Nick moves in the industry, his green eyes are glowing and he's like, "What can I do for my friend? Maybe my friend needs me." And it's like, that's not your friend, that's a shark. Are you mad? That's a shark. And Nick doesn't even have the excuse that he's too young. He's like 28. He should be like, you guys are kind of getting to Sony. You guys are using me to get to the youth, the fragile youth. And I think Nick thinks that the youth are watching him when it's like, dude, the intelligent youth are watching him, but the regular, everyone else is not intelligent, so they're watching something like Clav for entertainment. That's how the youth, they go to entertainment first, and Sneeko dominates entertainment. So they're going to go to Sneeko before they go to Nick. You think they want to hear Nick's spiel? You think it requires mental energy to watch a Nick stream? That's why it's so good for you. It's so healthy for you. Even if you disagree, it's just healthy for you. But do you think a young man that's not entering ego consciousness is going to download Nick? Hell no. Hell no. Dude, they're going to entertainment. They're going to clap. They're going to Sneeko. And Sneeko does this thing where it's like, hey guys, I'm doing a meet and greet. And he's done this many times where he tries to get the fans in the We're all going to the mosque, guys. And which is weird. I would never do a meet and greet to have like an agenda around it. And I make it sound like it's evil because have you ever seen Sneeko do something that's not agenda driven? Right? Like it, I've never seen it once. I've never. Remember, he just turned on Nick for no reason, and I'm like, oh god, they're back to being friends. That is the gayest episode of my life. But for half a year, I'm not going to say anything just to be a good friend. And then I'm like reading psychology articles here saying being a good friend does nothing for someone. You can't save someone. When have you ever been a good friend to someone and they still kill themselves? So what is this? We value this friendship shit way too much. If this was army times, we wouldn't say, "Oh, these are the guys I play cards with," and no, we talk about the mission, right? If we're shinobis, we're fucking ninjas. We're talking about the mission. We're not talking about friendship. But that liberal energy entered Sneeko and Nick, and we're all kumbaya friends. Dude, they're praying on the streets of New York, and you have one ally, Zherka, on Twitter, and you're fucking that up with him because you think Zherka's adding pressure. I'm not adding pressure to be a bad friend. I'm saying, look what they're doing to you. Every clip, they're doing something, and I'm not. What does Andrew Tate do? He'll see Nick suffer, and he won't say anything. He'll play it political. I don't want to play it political. This is like I see it as instinctual too, right? It's like what's the first thing that Muslims are going to do if they ever came into power, right? As stupid as Nick would look, they would put me and Nick right there and they'd say hang them. And Nick would look at me and go, he would look up at me because I'm older and he would go, "Oh, maybe Sneeko will pull in that favor. We can pull in that favor right now." And I'd look down at Nick and say, "Shut up, little nigga. You've done enough. You've done." I would. That's how angry I'd be because I'd be angry at myself. There's like, why did I let it get to this point? When they're hanging out around the Kanye thing, that's when we should have said, bro, this guy's sinking his fangs into you. Now, if Sneeko didn't have an agenda, it would be awesome. But this idea that he cannot make a move, I'm just going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He cannot make a move. He cannot make a move without something adding to the Muslim agenda. There's not one thing Sneeko does. When Zherka is on Twitter, is every move of Zherka's to push someone towards being a strong Catholic? Probably not. I'm genuine. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm off, sometimes you know, every single move Sneeko's recruiting, it's like because his money is attached to it, all of it is attached to it. And if you've ever wondered why Sneeko has so many ups and downs, why he's always suffering, it's because he doesn't make genuine moves in the world. Like, the last time I pissed him off, he's like, "You come over. If this is the fifth time I'm asking you to come over," and I'm trying to tell him like he has evil energy around him, so that means it's in him. Never think that evil energy around someone does not penetrate them. That's not how that psyche works. You fucking idiot. And I'm trying to tell him, I'm like, yo, this is not how you navigate in the cosmos at all, right? You can't just be around 10 Muslims that have that look in their eye. They have that look in their eye um, like we're waiting for the day Nick does a stream with Sneeko and five Muslims, and Sneeko gets up and goes to the bathroom. Like those guys aren't gonna look at him like a shark. They're gonna look at Nick like a shark. And everyone who has that little brother energy, like, yo, that's our guy. Nick's our political channel. You guys are all gonna be like, I can't do anything about it. And you guys are all gonna be like, whoa. Even the right wing guys can get a little naive because Nico's a master entertainer. He can start juggling and, hey, look at me, I'm a fucking dancing monkey. And Nick has his blood, so Nick goes, they have that relationship where it's like brown clown and blah blah blah. And how could you call me brown clown? And they have that relationship of who can distract the king? Only the fool. Because the king has spared the fool. They have that relationship, so it's like. And a lot of people are like, well, is it Sneeko? I genuinely believe Sneeko's more dangerous than any of the Arabs he's around. Like the Werner, they actually seem like they believe in God compared to Sneeko. Sneeko's more on a mission that's like straight from devil energy. It's just like, these are come come meet me here. We're going to this temple. And the others, it seems like like Werner had moments where he wasn't agenda driven, right? I talked to him, my dad talked to him, we were around those guys. He had moments of being a human, that big guy. And I was like, oh, wow, this is shocking. But, he's also older. Sneeko didn't have 1 second around me. When we're in Europe, he didn't have 1 second that wasn't agenda driven. I couldn't even light a cigarette without him saying, do this, do that. The caliphate is forming. That's, if a successful Sneeko is not an entertainer anymore. It's something else. And so people are like, people are like, how could you let politics ruin a friendship with that way? The fuck? That's where he has money. So, and people who think I'm being too harsh, you got to remember when I turn my phone off and I give it to my editor, he's blocked over 1,000. Feel it doesn't align perfectly. It has to align perfectly, and the money thing is not fun if it's in the back of my head that some dark is just plotting in there. You know what I mean? So when I find out you're a Muslim, you're out immediately. I'm not being racist. Hey, if you want to build a fucking sandcastle, you want to build it with sand. You don't want to build it with fucking shit, right? And there's something about you guys that you're cool until so, Allahu Akbar. One of you says that, and it's like the magic conch shell in SpongeBob, and it's one of those things that's like I don't want that in the back of my head ever. And a lot of you guys are like, well, just go to Dubai. Tommy Robinson he's kind of hardcore like you, Zherka. You like Dubai because he liked Dubai. And it's like, even a place that accepts me and welcomes me like Dubai, I still would never go there. There's a reason I've traveled the whole world except there, right? Not that the people are bad or anything, but anything at lower levels of consciousness, and just wait if a riot pops off. It's very different than a riot in the US, let me tell you that. When lower levels of consciousness run towards their group blood instinct, they can be hypnotized. One speaker, like a Mohammed Ajab, absorbs the intellect in the room. When Zerka speaks, he absorbs your intellect. When Nick speaks, he absorbs the Groiper intellect. When Mohammed Ajab speaks, he absorbs their intellect. And how do you give it back? With a sword. That's how they do it, with a sword. you know? And this is not like a call to war. I just think, hey, keep having babies, doing your thing, grow on that side, we'll grow on this side. Because remember, they need 50,000 souls for one white soul. Not that we're worth more, they're worth less, or any of that, but it's just like, what Arab guy is on Steve Jobs' level of consciousness? Like, none of them. It's the game is really unfair towards our side if you really want to go there. You know that, right? Like it's really one-sided. But we're not supposed to give up that side either. Why? They can just have their turn. No, for the next 300 years, this is a American thing. The world will be American. If aliens came down right now, they'd say, "What is Earth's culture? Not country culture. What is Earth's culture?" And it would be Hollywood. It would be American culture, you idiot. That's what they'd see first in any channel. So don't forget who runs the game. And it's like the idea that, oh, if we run the game, we can just let them multiply in New York. Man, you think I would give a fuck about LA? I'd be like, I don't give a fuck. It bothers me, but I wouldn't spend time on it. New York, that's fucking evil, dude. That is fucking evil. All the thought forms, all the strong concepts, everything that built New York is pure American energy. It's not Mexican energy. And it's like, dude, how does no one give a fuck? Like, no one gives a fuck. Wait till you're scrolling on your fucking TikTok feed and you go, you know what? They shouldn't be praying right there. They should go into that mosque across the fucking street and they don't do it. And they have that smug face. They have that smug face when they do it. That face like I can't get pussy, so I'm going to religion. Here, go. Next caller, go ahead. Who do we have? Jake?
Yo, is my mic good?
Yeah, hit me.
Yeah, dude, I got a lot to say about this, but I'm gonna try to keep it short. But dude, I
Nah,
don't
keep
know.
it long. Keep it long. We want to
Okay,
hear.
so this whole fucking Muslim thing has been pissing me off for quite some time. Like,
Test, test.
and especially like Nick's reaction. You know what I mean? Like, when you like see
Hey, can
Nick
you
and
hear
he's
me?
kind of like irritating you, and like just with his opinions, you like Zerka, you said it. You're like he's kind of going soft. Um, and I mean that shit's been pissing me off too. But um. Yeah, I was glad to see that he posted that fucking, or he said that in his live last night, that long ass 9 minute clip or whatever. And even then, I was kind of thinking it was kind of the same opinion as you. Like, I think it was, he could have gone in harder. And I feel like even a lot of the Groypers, like, I love the Groypers, but like, I feel like some of the Groypers think they can't disagree with Nick. Like, you can disagree with Nick, you can like get on his head. That's going to motivate him to fucking go harder. Like, look at what Zerka did. Zerka was pretty much pressuring Nick into like some type of reaction.
Well,
To like,
I know his nature. Like the one thing we have in common. Before I became a maniac, I literally was him, but a gamer version. He's like an intellectual version, and I know Nick's the kind of guy that if he has dinner with someone, everything's just fine. If even me, I had dinner with Sneeko, and we had a blast. He dazzled me. He can dazzle people, and it's like you're kind of that more introverted nature we have, where it's like nothing went wrong. We had a blast. That's my friend.
yeah,
That thing Sneeko doesn't actually have. That's why he turned on Nick out of the blue. It was like a year and a half ago, which is very weird to turn on someone out of the blue for no fucking reason, just so he can get his YouTube channel back. And I'm
dude,
like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
100%.
And people are telling me they're like, oh, it's their beef. Leave it alone. I was like, dude, you don't get how this works. There's a lot of people who watch me. There's even more who watch Nick. And who knows how many people watch Sneeko. Just on Twitter, it's not three talking heads, you fucking idiot. It's not three friendships. It's a lot bigger than that. Okay? It's
Yeah,
huge. Like, for example, if there was riots on the street, Nick and I would have to say, hey guys, Nick would say to the Groypers, Don't kill Sneeko, right? I'm a Christian. Don't. It was just jokes. Don't. Zerka would say to Dark Maga, guys, don't do it. Or even the generals, cocaine crusaders, nope. But if it's the other way around, I'm not saying Sneeko would say kill those two. I'm saying that he wouldn't say anything.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah. And these, it's not like they don't play fair, bro. That's what he doesn't realize. Like, dude, the main reason I came to Christ is because I also was one of those who I was like, oh, maybe Islam is cool. I should read the Quran, you know. And I like,
What
started.
the fuck? You were a Sunny fast
Bro, this
headed?
is no, I'm telling you, this is, but no, well, actually, I'm the elite Sunny Fast because I'm an Italian Catholic. My dad is a Catholic. I knew nothing about the religion, whatever, grew up. I unbiasedly looked at both and I see like Muslims straight up lying to get like one conversion, or they'll lie about a hadith or some shit and get exposed. And like, even Sneeko, I wake up to Sneeko saying, like reacting to the Nick clip, and he's like, "Oh, when was I boasting about the Muslims in New York?" It's like, dude, everyone, everyone saw that clip of you going, "Yeah, I'm gonna wear my fucking thobe and this and that," and he just blatantly lies and tries to like act like he didn't say that. And another clip, this is a funny one too. A few months ago, I was watching an old debate you did with I think it was Lantern, Muslim Lantern, if you remember that. Uh,
Yeah, that guy's just pure evil.
yeah, that guy's a piece of shit. But like, dude, some Muslim channel like reposted it on YouTube, and at one point they bleeped something out, and I was looking at your like mouth trying to figure out what did they bleep out. It wasn't a cuss word. What was it? And they literally bleeped out the words Sam Shamoon, and I was like, ain't no fucking way. I go to the comments and everyone's just like, oh, Zerka's a retard, this and that. And I'm like, bro, your own fucking people bleeped out. We would never bleep out like someone saying, oh, don't watch a Muslim Lantern. Like, we all know Muslim Lantern is a fucking retard. You know what I mean? But these guys are like dirty as fuck.
They are dirty, and it's like, and it's consistent dirty. You can even, I used to watch before I was even on the internet. The only thing I'd watch is some Speaker's Corner debates, and I'm like, it's not just the Christians losing these debates because they're being polite and not getting a chance to even speak. It's also the Chinese guys. It's every color was losing to the Muslims because they're cheating, and I'm like, oh, other races are just more polite, right? They could never do that to me, right? Have you ever seen me on a call with a Muslim and I choke? No, it's them choking. What the fuck? And in my head, I'm like, oh, that politeness, that wolf-like instinct to just be an asshole, because the Chinese guy and the white guy don't really have it, they are always gonna get dog walked by some fucking dude playing. They do their 21 questions type shit. Have you seen them ask 21 questions in a row to get to a different point of the argument? And it's like, dude, this is not intellectually rigorous. This is actually monkey behavior. And here's the truth, man. Why would you ever need to argue with a group of people if they're flying to white countries? Don't we look stupid arguing? You, you're flying to a white nation and you're saying that nation doesn't have the truth. I'm just here for something else.
Yeah, it's
They
so
only
What
care
are we
about
disrespectful.
here
survival.
for? They don't. These people are fucking monkeys. We have to be retarded to debate these people. If Zerka flew to Saudi Arabia to say, "Here's what I want to change about it," everything, they would laugh me off the streets. They'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?" But we have to listen. Another thing, I I totally scrapped Sam Shamoon. I love Sam Shamoon, but I scrapped him because he was mean to Nick this one time. So I scrapped him. I was like, get away from this guy. That's a horrible fucking strategy. This idea we're scrapping our best players? Fuck no, we're not doing that. Not Jay Dyer, who won that fucking debate easily. We're not scrapping him, even though he's an Orthodox fucking whatever he does. We're not scrapping Sam Shamoon. We're not scrapping Tommy Robinson. This scrapping every fucking player is fucking retarded. The fuck?
Yeah,
I'm like,
hey,
it's been years of me just having the Nick channel, and Nick channel is turning to the Sneeko channel. I'm like, no, this is fucking weird. I have one fucking political thing I watch. I barely watch Trump. I didn't watch that State of the Union thing. It's just kind of boring for me. I'm like, no, no, this is so, I can so easily get crowded here. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it my way where Sam Shamoon, we're going to have him on. We're going to have Jay Dyer on. I don't give a fuck if it looks like the fucking Avengers of the Christians. We are not doing this whole one channel thing. This is retarded behavior. The Muslims aren't even doing that. None of them. And we won the Jay Dyer debate. We literally won. Jay Dyer, even though he's Orthodox, he won that debate, right? I'd rather some fucking idiots go to the Orthodox Church than fucking Sonny Faz's way. But everything, and I was like, I'm not the social guy. I'm not going to organize this. No one else wants to fucking organize it. And the Christian channels don't even beef each other that much. They just stop talking to each other. They're like chill about it, which is even more stupid. Like we got to deal with all this. Like we're gonna keep fucking and having kids and kids and kids, and you guys are gonna Zherka. You know what? Jay Dyer is not with Nick. He's an Orthodox. They had a debate. There, he's cool. Not don't follow him, even though his content is good right now. You know what, Zerka, don't follow Sam Shamoon. He said something rude about Nick. This is the most retarded strategy we have ever implemented, and it's my fault because I come from like a brotherly background. So if I see someone as a friend, like a brother, I go, "Oh, Nick's my brother. Nick's my dude. Nick is another person on the other side of the world that needs help. Nick needs Jay Dyer, Sam Shamoon. We got to get the fucking Avengers going here, you know? Because remember, my whole my whole method is to bring in the normies that will never go to Christ. The normies that are nightclub bouncers, bartenders, whores. That's my crowd. Nick's is the political crowd. Jay Dyer's is the Epstein crowd, right? The Epstein, they're talking about Epstein thing. He's covering it well. Um, which is weird. A lot of Orthodox guys watch Nick. We shouldn't fucking kick them in the teeth right now when New York's being taken. But it was funny, like when Nick shits on the Balkans, that should be every episode. That should be literally every fucking episode. He should get under our skin. But yeah, this is crazy. It's like I was like, okay, he finished his generational run. What do I want to see out of 2026 in the first year of Trump? And I'm like, the first time 2016 we saw Christian revival energy. Where the fuck is it? And I'm like, okay, you know what? My next spaces, my next streams this year, 2026, I will have Jay Dyer on. I felt like such a Christian revival. If anyone was a part of that movement, it's like, dude, the whole world, even the fucking atheists, everyone was just like free. It was a circus, a good circus. Like, even the non-jesters were jester. Everything was awesome. And this just feels like depressing, sad. Um, Not to take away from Nick's speech. I'm not just being a nice guy. That speech was perfect about Islam. It's just this cinematic movie needs other characters. It doesn't need me. I want to be on vacation. It needs Jay Dyers. It needs Sam Shamoons. It needs more colors. And if we
God
can get
logic.
everyone, yeah, if we can get everyone on the same page, or that'll never happen. But same chapter at least, that would be great. And yeah, we got to go back to having fun, man. We got to go back to having fun because this idea that Muslims are just going to tell people you can eat rice with your fingers, and they actually look at you in the face and say that's the same as a hamburger. What? Like people are like, why don't you like Mondani? What did you find on him? There's nothing. I didn't even research Mondani. I knew he was going to be a Jew dog week one. That's why everyone's like, "Oh, you're right."
You can
But
see in his smile just how he looks. You're like, this guy's a fraud.
no, the fact that he did that photo on purpose with the rice, he knew what he's doing there. As in that's like a call to action. That's like, hey guys, take over New York right now with our fingernails. Or the fact that he's a fucking liberal cuck But really, he prays 5 times a day. The most dangerous people are these Palestinian flags that support gay rights. They're a fusion of two cancerous movements. And yes, I'm against Palestine, but the idea that those old men in Palestine I'm supporting sounds to me sounds Epstein. He was trying to make black people chill. That doesn't sound so bad. And people are going to be like, it's because you got a Jewish manager. That's why you're saying all this. I don't trust my manager as far as I could throw him. Steiny, I don't trust him at all. I just take the money, and every time I touch Steiny's money, I start thinking to myself, maybe, maybe these Jews aren't so bad. Maybe they're not. No, that's not what happened. That's obviously a joke. But I'm not going to get into it because, like, you have to be an idiot to think. Did anyone see it in my face that I'm fed up for the last year of like, let's team up with the Arabs and they're eating with their hands and they're trying to marry a 13-year-old. And well, she had her period, right?
No, this
She
is
had her.
war. Fuck that shit.